But when we start talking about things that look like evidence, they want to act like they blind. They don't know what this is. These are our national secrets. Looks like in the shitter to me. Until they find some evidence, we need to get back to the people's work, which means keeping this government open so that people don't go hungry in the streets of the United States. And I will.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the following program. I am your host, Joe Neerman, a.k.a. Good Lawgic. First things first, let's make sure that our audio is good. Is our audio solid? Rocks, I don't want to hear about the staticky or whatever. Tell me it's good. Tell me. Say, Joe, wow, that audio. I never seen audio like that. That's like audio. It's almost like you have like one of those voiceover things. Like I think it's like what they use when they're trying to portray God talking to Homer Simpson. That's how good you sound right now. 5x5. I assume 5x5 means good things. I assume that's what that means. I hope you all are you're all having a good and happy Thanksgiving Eve, whether you're excited about football tomorrow or turkey or other brands of food, or you just really love cooking up a storm for family, or frankly, hopefully the most exciting thing for you is getting together with family. That would be an awesome situation. I hope that for most of you, that's the scenario. And yeah, that's all going to be tomorrow. Tomorrow, I expect to stream late. When I say late, I mean like my old regular time of like 10 p.m. Tomorrow, I'm going to let you get through all that football out of the way. Let's just get that football out of the way. Wait, it's 4:30, 7:30. I might even start after the last game. I'm going to be starting late tomorrow, okay? It really probably depends on whether I end up deciding to start anyone in the Ravens-Cincinnati game. I'm almost definitely going to be starting late. Yeah, I'm starting late. Tomorrow I'm going to be starting late. I'm just giving you a heads up now, okay? I'm going to put you up. I'll put notices on locals. That's where you should be following what time I'm starting. Goodlawgic.locals.com. That's goodlawgic.locals.com. This way you can settle back, let the triptane or whatever it is, settle into your body from all that turkey, and lay out there watching the Bengals taking on the Ravens. And then it ends, and it's like we just go. Let's just boom. Almost like I'm a post-game wrap-up, but probably not talking that much about the football without even and pretending I don't know very much about it. So that's going to be tomorrow. So happy Thanksgiving to me and to you and yours as well. Tonight we got more than three. I have a whole bunch of stories to cover for you. A whole bunch. First and foremost, we have this alleged betrayal. That's been that Steve Witkoff allegedly perpetrated against Donald Trump. We're going to look at exactly what he did, how it's being portrayed, and I'll give you my take as to what I think has happened here. We'll break that down. Also, tragedy struck, unfortunately, in D.C. 2 members of the Alabama National Guard were shot and killed in a horrific incident, and the fingers are starting to point, properly so. We're going to be looking at reactions from different folks, as well as other clips I have segued as to what people are attributing this entire scenario to. It's still early, still very early, but obviously it's a very scary time that we're facing in this country. I also have a whole bunch of side stories that I list in the description, not in the title of tonight's show, like Karoline Leavitt's relative being picked up by ICE, the trans woman man thing, that Strongwoman thing. There was an incident. There was an incident. Okay, we'll just leave it at that. There was an incident, and more. And I got more. Every time I turn around, there's another story that I was like, I really want to talk to folks about. I really want to talk to you guys about that. So that's all here tonight. Plus, I have a goal going on tonight, which is if we reach our goal, our normal stated goal. This is like the most reliable thing you can have about this show right now, is that you know that the goal is going to be 15 yellows, 15 super chats at $10 more. Tonight's goal will be that if we reach it, I'm going to have a whole breakdown for you about my thoughts about Thanksgiving and also have a call in. So that's if we reach the goal, which I see we're ready on our way. We're ready on our way. So yeah, that's what's set up. Best audio yet. The squirrels say, hallelujah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you, Iowa. Member for 10 months. Member for 10 months. Tom Forsyth says, can you explain how the Epstein Act isn't a bill of attainder? It's a law about one guy. What am I missing? It's not about a guy. Right? The Epstein Act is about releasing the files. So I don't think it's about one guy. Now you can say maybe you're asking an interesting legal philosophical question. I like the way you're thinking here, Tom. I really do. I really do. Bill of attainder is the Congress not allowed to pass a law that's basically directed at handling a particular individual. It's a bill of attainder, which was something that our founding fathers deeply frowned upon because they saw how laws were basically passed against them by the British Crown. So they said, we don't want that. We're not allowing government to do that. So you're not allowed to target an individual. So that's where Tom is coming from here. And I think he's asking a really good question. I just don't think that this is something that's, first of all, I'm not sure if bills of attainder would, or a restriction on bills of attainder would apply to someone posthumously. That's an interesting question, which probably has never been answered before. I mean, where would it be answered, right? Where would it be answered? And also with respect to so that's why I don't know if there's a restriction on that, but you're asking a really good question. Would it apply posthumously? I can understand philosophically why it should. But if no one presses it, you would need someone to come forward and press and say, hey, this is a bill of attainder. As I often say, the way the law tends to operate is there's an assumption people do what they're going to do based on what they think they're allowed to do, and then they just keep doing it until someone says, hey, you can't do that, and a court agrees and says you can't do that. And that's when we start formulating what the law is, like what the law means in practical terms. So now you're asking basically about bill of attainder posthumously on Jeffrey Epstein for his records. Interesting. I like the question a lot. Toward my goal. Thank you. Also, I thought it was West Virginia National Guardsmen. It mattered to those from West Virginia. I saw Alabama. You know, you could be correct. I appreciate you correcting me. I saw Alabama, and then I saw and I did see something about West Virginia also. We'll look at it. I mean, everywhere I was seeing it, they're talking about National Guard, National Guard. I apologize if I misspoke earlier. I apologize to anyone who I caused concern to, who might have family members there, and I understand it's very possible that some of you may. So I'm certainly not trying to mislead anyone, and I appreciate you correcting me on that. Thank you. Kimmy, West Virginia National Guard, and they're still alive. West Virginia governor retracted his post. Really? That's amazing. That is phenomenal. That's the best news I heard yet. Continue to pray for them. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Much to be thankful for this year. I'm thankful for all of you. We are thankful for you as well, Kimmy. Thank you very, very much. Well, hopefully, I'll cover that story second, and maybe more of that will flesh out, and we're going to have to find out more information about that because I want everyone to be on the same page as to what exactly is going on there. But the first story I want to cover with you is something that was broken by Bloomberg, where they're claiming that they have evidence, they have a source which has shown them that U.S. presidential envoy Steve Witkoff was the transcript of his conversations with his Russian counterpart that they published. And here is the story. Witkoff advised Russia on how to pitch Ukraine plan to Trump. Okay. U.S. presidential envoy Steve Witkoff, fresh from the triumph of the Gaza peace deal, held a phone call last month with senior Kremlin officials to suggest they work together on a similar plan for Ukraine and that Vladimir Putin should raise it with Donald Trump. In an October 14th phone call that lasted a little over 5 minutes, Witkoff advised Yuri Ushakov, Putin's top foreign policy aide, on how the Russian leader should broach the issue with Trump. Okay. People are saying that this is treasonous, that what he did here was just completely off base. His guidance includes suggestions on setting up a Trump-Putin call before Vladimir Zelensky's White House visit later that week and using the Gaza agreement as a way in. Quote, "We put a 20-point Trump plan together that was 20 points for peace, and I'm thinking maybe we do the same thing with you," Witkoff told Ushakov, according to a recording of the conversation reviewed and transcribed by Bloomberg. To read the full transcript of the call, let's check this out here. Yeah, that's not what I wanted. Why didn't you give me the full transcript? The following is a transcript of an October 14th phone call lasting just over 5 minutes between Steve Witkoff, Donald Trump's special envoy for peace missions, Yuri Ushakov, Vladimir Putin's most senior foreign policy advisor. The transcript was prepared after Bloomberg reviewed a recording of the call. Here we go. Now, some of you might be asking yourself, Joe, it's Wednesday. Why isn't Sin there with you? Isn't Sin supposed to be there with you on Wednesdays? Those of you who are longtime viewers of the show might have realized that I established a pattern whereby Cynical would join me on Wednesdays. So you might be thinking to yourself, Joe, did they have there's a few possibilities here. Did they have a falling out? Is it the schedule change that now he's not coming anymore because it doesn't work for Sin, or did Joe forget? What's happening here? Is he still waiting in the background and Joe forgot to bring him in? Which that would be a fair guess. If that was your guess, great job, because here he is. No. And that would be a very fair guess. But the reality is I do plan on bringing him in here on Wednesdays, even with the new schedule. Tomorrow I plan on having Jim Satala joining me Thursday night, as he often does for our late show. And that's it just didn't work for him with the holidays and everything. So that's why Cynical is not here tonight. Also, I only called him like 15 minutes before, and he's like, hey, and I told him, hey, I'm going live in 15 minutes. He's like, what? So yeah, there was that too, but it didn't work out for him. But God willing, next week he'll be back. It comes up in the context of the fact that I'm about to read a conversation, which I was thinking, this would probably work better if I had a second person here doing the live read with me. So I'm not sure. It's not the best way I can actually give you, in case you're just listening, is I will do my best Russian accent when I'm doing Yuri Ushakov. My best Russian accent. Yo, man, what up? What up, my blood? I'll do my best Russian accent. We'll do our best Russian accent as we try to do this when I'm doing Yuri Ushakov, and then I'll just do, I guess, a different voice for Steve. Hi, Yuri. Yeah, Steve. Hi. How are you? Good, Yuri. How are you doing? I'm okay. Congratulations, my friend. Thank you. You made a great job. Just great job. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Yuri, and thanks for your support. I know your country supported it, and I thank you. Yes. That's why we suspend the organization of First Russian Arabic Summit. Yes. Yeah, because we think that you are making the real job there in the region. Well, listen, I'm going to tell you something. I think if we can get the Russia-Ukraine thing solved, everybody will be jumping for joy. Yeah. Yeah, you need to solve only one problem. I'm really loving the way the accent's working. I'm very proud of the way this is going so far. I'm just telling you right now. What? Russian Ukrainian war. I know. How do we get that solved? My friend, I just want your advice. Do you think that it will be useful if our bosses will talk on the phone? Yes, I do. You do. And when you think it could be possible? I think as soon as you suggest, my guy is ready to do it. Oh, okay. Yuri, here's what I would do. My recommendation? Yes, please. I would make the call and just reiterate that you congratulate the president on this achievement, that you supported it. You supported it, that you respect that he's a man of peace, and you're really glad to have seen it happen. So I would say that. I think that it's going to be a really good call. Because let me tell you what I told the president. I told the president that the Russian Federation has always wanted a peace deal. That's my belief. I told the president, I believe that. And I believe the question is, the issue is that we have two nations that are having a hard time coming to a compromise. And when we do, we're going to have a peace deal. I'm even thinking that maybe we set out like a 20-point peace proposal, just like we did in Gaza. We put 20-point Trump plan together that was 20 points for peace. And I'm thinking maybe we do the same thing with you. My point is this. Okay, my friend. I think that very point our leaders could discuss. Hey, Steve, I agree with you that he will congratulate. He will say that Mr. Trump is a real peace man and so good that he'll say. But here's what I think would be amazing. Okay. What if, hear me out. I will discuss that with my boss and then I come back to you, okay? Yeah, because listen to what I'm saying. I just want you to say, maybe just to say this to President Putin, because, I have the deepest respect for President Putin. Yes. Maybe he says to President Trump, sorry, that wasn't professional. Maybe he says to President Trump, Steve and Yuri discussed a very similar 20-point plan to peace. And that could be something that we think might move the needle a little bit. We're open to those sort of things, to explore what's going to take to get a peace deal done. Now, me to you, I know what's going to take to get a peace deal done. Donetsk, maybe a land swap somewhere. But I'm saying instead of talking like that, let's talk more hopefully, because I think we're going to get a deal here. And I think, Yuri, the president will give me a lot of space and discretion to get the deal. I see. So if we can create that opportunity, that after this I talked to Yuri and we had a conversation, I think that could lead to big stuff. Okay, that sounds good. And here's one more thing, Zelensky's coming to the White House on Friday. I know that. I have your White House bugged. No. I don't think that's true. I know that. I'll go to that meeting because they want me there. But I think it's possible we have the call with your boss before that Friday meeting. Before, yeah. Correct. Okay, I got your advice. So I discuss this with my boss, and then I come back to you, okay? Okay, Yuri, I'll speak to you soon. Great. Thank you so much. Thanks, you. Bye-bye. Bye. Call ends. Wow, that's treason right there. That is treason right there. Oh, my God. Hang him. String him up the way they're stringing up all them black folks, according to Jasmine Crockett. What? Hey, that's what they should do. They should be stringing them up like the way they're stringing up all them black folks, according to Jasmine Crockett. What? You didn't hear her say that? Oh, she said that. She said that. Yeah. In case you think I just made that up, this was her saying that.
They not even going. Honestly, they're about to outlaw the idea of white supremacy and white hate. Like they are about to be like, oh, that's not a thing. Forget the fact that you're talking about getting rid of like the classification for nooses in a time in which we have seen these random black bodies be strung up down south.
What? What? Well, anyway, that's what we need to do. That's what we need to do to Steve. That was totally illegal what he did there. Can you believe the audacity of this guy telling Yuri that he should have his boss call and say this is and congratulate him as this being a time of peace after the Gaza deal, and saying that he's interested in doing it, maybe even to call before Zelensky shows up. Outrageous. What is going on here? I can't even believe it. Like, well, who do you think you are? You're just trying to pull a fast one there on Trump. Like you're totally betraying him, stabbing him in the back, where you're basically having him get these phone calls from President Putin, congratulating him on his peace deal and saying, hey, maybe we can do that too. It is crazy. It is crazy that Steve Witkoff thinks he can get away with this. I'm not sure which laws he's broken here, but I am sure there is a stack a mile high of laws which basically say that when you're a special envoy to Russia, you're never, ever supposed to suggest that maybe the Russian president should call the president of the United States. That's just completely outrageous and sickening. And then the whole 20-point plan there that he thinks that, there's that he's going to try and use a 20-point plan for peace. It's crazy. It's real craziness there. But yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I don't know what the heck they're talking about. I don't know what it is that they're saying is so outrageous here. I don't know why anyone thinks that Steve Witkoff did anything wrong here at all. Like anything. I don't understand. This is like a good thing to do. I think that Trump was standing over him saying, yeah, tell him to call me. Tell him to tell Putin to call me. As if this is like, this way it's like when Putin comes, first and foremost, just Psych 101. Psych 101 is the best thing possible. If you ever been in some sort of relationship type of scenario, and there's no reason to think that a personal relationship is any different from a political relationship. You always want to say, this is something every woman knows. Ladies, listen to me. Ladies, if you don't know this, I'm going to share it with you because it's true. It's an axiom which goes back before your fathers and your fathers' fathers and your mothers and your mothers' mothers. It goes back many, many, many generations, perhaps, seriously, all the way back to Noah times, okay? It is far better, instead of you trying to pitch something to someone, to plant a seed which enables them to think that they're pitching it and selling it to you. That's how you get a deal done. This is something that Trump has covered in The Art of the Deal. I've never read it, but I assume it's there. It's got to be in there. But you're always better off if the person's coming to you. So what did Steve Witkoff do? He basically went over to Yuri and he said, hey, Yuri. He's like, oh, yes, I will get my boss to call your boss and congratulate him and say maybe it's time to talk peace. And it's like, oh, so now he thinks he's going to be like wedging in here. That's what you want them to think. That's exactly how you deal. The idea is you want to sell them on the idea that the entire idea that's being discussed was always their idea, not yours. That way they're trying to sell you instead of you trying to sell them. And you're like, I don't know. Okay. That's essentially what ends up happening. That's what ends up happening. Trust me, I've had enough conversations to not that Lady Logic ever had to do that with me, but I'm just saying I've seen how effective that is. So what is the problem here? Basically, Witkoff is giving Russia guidance into how to earn their way into Trump's good graces. And if we assume that Trump actually knows that he did this, is this a bad thing? Or is this Trump outfoxing the Russians? But that's a perspective that the left could never even consider for 30 seconds. They're like, oh my gosh, that maybe Trump is the one who's outfoxing them. He sends Steve Witkoff off there, and he basically has them, basically doing what they want to do. I'll tell you right now that Trump claims that this is exactly what he wanted. Asked about Witkoff's approach, Trump said that he hadn't reviewed the call, but that he heard it was a standard negotiation. He's got to sell this to Ukraine. He's got to sell Ukraine to Russia. That's what a deal maker does, Trump told reporters Tuesday. You got to say, look, they want this. You got to convince them of this. I would imagine he's saying the same thing to Ukraine because each party has to give and take. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov did not immediately respond to comment. Conversation for the first time offers direct insight into Witkoff's recent tactics for negotiating with Russia and what appears to be the genesis for the 28-point peace proposal that emerged early this month, which the U.S. has pushed Ukraine to accept as the basis of a deal. You see, this is what it is. This is what it is. This is why the Bloomberg thinks this is some sort of scoop. It's some sort of scoop. Because anything they could try to do to make it look as if, Russian people in Trump's orbit are evil, like they're trying to portray Witkoff here, they're going to try and sell. Or to show that that Trump is incompetent, that he hires evil traitors to work for him. That's another good thing. The other thing here is to try to say, look, Trump and Russia are working hand in glove with each other. They're trying to work against Ukraine. As if he hasn't negotiated 7 peace deals already. As if he hasn't. Which the U.S. has pushed Ukraine to accept the basis of a deal. You see how they say pushed Ukraine, as opposed to negotiate with Ukraine. Both sides are going to have to give and take here. But they're basically trying to get their Bloombergian readers, because this is Bloomberg again, they're trying to get their Bloombergian readers to believe that this is some sort of, pro-Russian, anti-Ukraine, trying to kill democracy. Democracy's on the line here. That's what they're trying to get the readers to think. Oh, he's working with Putin. Yeah, of course he is. He should be. He damn well better be. Why the hell wasn't Biden? That's the healthy question to ask. That's what a person with sense would be asking. But I guess they're relying on the fact that few of their readers actually have sense. Sense is a rare thing. So Putin said this month he believed the U.S. plan could be used as a base for peace settlement. He told senior officials at a meeting of the Russian Security Council the 28-point plan had not been discussed in detail yet with the U.S., but that Moscow had received a copy of it. Trump said Tuesday he was directing Witkoff to meet with Putin in the hopes of finalizing a peace plan. Quote, the original 28-point peace plan, which was drafted by the U.S., has been fine-tuned with additional input from both sides. And there are only a few remaining points of disagreement, the president said in a post on Truth Social. At the time of the Witkoff-Ushakov call, Trump was basking in the success of his drive to end the war in Gaza. You see, if they like Trump, instead of them saying Trump was basking, they would say Trump was hot off the heels of working a peace deal in the Middle East. That's how they would phrase it, but instead they make it as if he's narcissistically basking in his success. The day before, he became the first U.S. president to address the Israeli Knesset since 2008 after securing the release of the final 20 living hostages held by Hamas. Yeah, notice how Israel isn't too fond of having Democrats pop in, right? They never invited Obama. They never invited Biden. Trump's attitude toward Putin, however, appeared to be souring. As he prepared for his meeting with Zelensky on October 17th, he was considering providing Ukraine with long-range Tomahawk missiles. I said Tomahawk, but it's Tomahawk. Tomahawk missiles. Discussing fresh sanctions on Russia and voicing his frustration with Putin. Quote, I don't know why he continues with this war, Trump said October 14th, the same day that Witkoff spoke with Ushakov. He just doesn't want to end that war, and I think it's making him look very bad. During his call with Ushakov, Witkoff told his Russian counterpart that he had deep respect for Putin. And we got all this. We read the call. So we don't need to do this. On October 29th, Dmitriev and Ushakov spoke by phone in Russian and debated how strongly Moscow should push for its demands in any peace proposal, according to another recording reviewed by Bloomberg. Ooh, another recording. Ooh. How do I do 2 Russian accents? How do I do that? I need moose and squirrel. I definitely have to Ushakov as the Russian with his whole hello. I definitely have to him. All right, we'll figure it. Come back to this. We'll come back to this. Should we do this now? I don't know. We'll see if any suggest anything. Well, and I'm gonna go through the super chats and rants, and we'll see if any suggests something good for how I can handle 2 different Russian accents. Don't tell me that it wasn't good. It was very good. The Russian accent, my Eastern European accent is probably my best accent. So, yeah, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Pinochet said bills of attainder can be declared in the U.S. Article 3, Section 3, corruption of blood cannot be declared by Congress. However, on the 10th Amendment, declaring corruption of blood falls to the people. What? I'm not familiar with corruption of blood. That's a term that I've never heard. Is that when that's when they're harming someone posthumously? What the heck is corruption of blood? That's what Pinochet is on, corruption of blood. Now I need to check out. That sounds like a term of art that you're using there. Corruption of blood meaning? Corruption of blood was historical legal doctrine in English law where a person convicted of treason or a felony was considered to have corrupted blood, which barred them from and their descendants from inheriting, retaining, or transmitting property, rank, or title. This punishment, a consequence of attainder, is now considered unconstitutional in the U.S. and has been abolished. Oh, look at you, Pinochet, with the historical legal knowledge. Well done. All right. What else do we have here? Witkoff is Trump's BFF, wouldn't betray Trump ever. I don't think there was any betrayal here at all. I have absolutely nothing to say. I'm just chipping in for the Thanksgiving thoughts, and happy Thanksgiving to all yours and the chat's family. Well, thank you so much, Just Me, out there in Texas. God bless you, brother. Happy holidays. Did you hear Reddit's take on the guard shooting, saying that's what T wanted, comparing it to the Reichstag fire? Of course. Of course. Okay. I noticed the other day, because now I tend to try to watch the end of Robert Gouvea's show to make sure I'm catching that, so I know whether I can start, because I don't want to, if he's in the middle of a story, I'm going to hold off and wait until he's at least into his reads of chat that he does at the end of the show. So I noticed that you sent him a chat, and he paused and read it to himself very quickly, because he reads and he dissects and digests very quickly, trying to decide, do I read this out loud or not? Do I really want to read this out loud? So, and he ended up reading it out loud. And that's, so, learning from Robert, I was like, maybe that's a good idea. Instead of just like blindly reading, maybe just take half a moment to digest. There once was a man. There once was a man from Manchina who wasn't a very good climber. He fell off a rock and lost himself. And now he has a Manchina. Nice. Nice. Happy Thanksgiving. Appreciate the love from you, brother. You're awesome. What, Joe, you believe this is leftist propaganda? I wouldn't say leftist. It's not even propaganda. It's the story is accurate. It's framing that's just insane. Like, why would anyone think there's something wrong here? What part of this is like, don't do that? I don't even know. I don't even know why someone would come to a negative conclusion here. Judging by this article, JFK would have never been able to solve the Cuban Missile Crisis or the Berlin standoff with reporting like this BS. It's true. It's terrible. It's ridiculous reporting. One for the goal. Also, despite all the efforts of Anthony Weiner, the phrase "hung like a Democrat," what? Huang like a Democrat, is changing its meaning. Seriously, though, I've never heard. Wait. I never heard that phrase. That's not a phrase. That's like, that's not a phrase. I've never even heard that. It's changing its meaning. Seriously though, we all do well to de-escalate for the holidays. Amen. Drop Barracuda. Why does Mamdani wear boots without his pants on so he can put the goats? This is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. I do not think this happens. I don't think this happens. My question, how did they get transcript to the phone call in the first place? If I'm the president, that would be what I'm mad about. I have the same question. I have the exact same question. That's the real leak. That's the real betrayal. That is the real betrayal. Why are transcripts from your phone calls getting out to the public? Although I'm about to get into the second chat, and that's between two different Russian things. So maybe it's on Yuri's end. Because there's another call with Yuri and one of his Russian counterparts, which they have a transcript from. So maybe that's where the issue is between Yuri Ushakov and Dmitriev. So maybe it's not a White House leak. Always feel free to read mine right off the rip. I'm a little cautious there too. Shooter is an Afghan national. DM'd you the article. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Does anyone have any idea about the motive? Anyone? Anyone? An Afghan national. All right. So we're about to get into a second phone call here. This is a phone call between Ushakov and Dmitriev regarding the peace deal and conversations, I guess, that he's had with Witkoff. No one gave me, I haven't seen any suggestions as to how I should best handle two different Russians talking to each other in a way that folks will understand what I'm saying. I guess I'll pretend Dmitriev has an American accent. In this way, we'll just do it that way. All right. Ushakov and Dmitriev. I have not yet read this, so let's see what they got. Let's see what Bloomberg's got for us. Hello, Yuri Viktorovich. Yes. Why Viktorovich? I thought it's Ushakov. What? Yes, Kirill Alexandrovich. Well, I sent everything there. We'll talk tomorrow. Well, great. Yes. I flew to Saudi Arabia, but it seems to me it's very important because it's a really good way forward. Well, we need the maximum. Don't you think we do? What do you think? Otherwise, what's the point of passing anything on? No, look, I think we'll just make this paper from our position, and I'll informally pass it along, making it clear that it's all informal. Let them do like their own. But I don't think they'll take exactly our version, but at least it'll be as close to it as possible. Well, that is exactly the point. They might not take and say that it was agree with us. That's what I'm afraid of. No, no, no. I'll say it exactly as you say it, word for word. They might twist it later. That's all. There's a risk. There is. Well, all right. Never mind. We'll see. Yeah, it seems to me that you can talk later with Steve about this paper. We will do everything neatly. Thank you so much, Yuri Viktorovich. Thank you so much. Thank you. Goodbye. Okay. I don't know what we're getting from this. Maybe Bloomberg is just really excited to show us that they have leaked transcripts from phone calls, because I don't know what we're getting from this. I don't know. I feel no more enlightenment as a result of this reporting. Color me shocked that I'm reading Bloomberg and don't feel any more enlightened than before I invested the time to do that. What's the matter? I'm feeling generous, and I'm seeing something here. I'm seeing someone asking about my email. I'm seeing that happen in the chat. I saw this. I don't have a one-on-one contact with what TF either, and it makes me sad as well. AI generated BS. Why would Russia leak it? There's nothing here. I'm not saying that they did leak it. I don't know what their source is. Could it be AI generated? Obviously, anything's possible in today's world. I'm simply saying this is a very weird thing to be sharing. This is like, there's nothing newsworthy here. I'm saying, like, I don't know what we're getting out of this. I've been scrolling up. I'm seeing conversations. I'm feeling my ears ringing. Oh, that he wants me to post his, the Leave God wants me to post his channel? Yeah, why wouldn't I? What do I care? Wait, is it any good? Is it good content? Is it good stuff? His new channel link? Sure. Sure. All right. Send it over to Good Lawgic, goodlawgic@gmail.com, which is an email I check every Thanksgiving or so. But that means we're due, right? it means we're due. All right. So that's what happened there. That's good. I don't think there's anything embarrassing. I don't think there's anything embarrassing for Witkoff or Trump or anyone. If anything, I think it's kind of cool to hear how, like, the conversations go. I do enjoy that. Like, the conversations, like, but I do have concerns of, like, the conversations are being leaked. Like, with negotiation conversations are being leaked. That's a little bit of a concerning thing. I think it would be cool to read about things that happened like 50 years ago. Conversations between, Reagan and Gorbachev, or their aides. I think that would be actually a really cool thing to read. To see how conversations develop in the negotiation process. So, not while they're in the middle of progressing, because it seems as if that could impede further development of the actual objective of reaching peace there, right? All right. I'm afraid I'm going to forget this. I'm going to just play this really quick, and it might make you upset. I didn't list it in the description. I didn't list it in the title. But you might remember Irina Zarutska. Was that her name? Yeah. Irina Zarutska, the poor woman who was butchered on the train in Charlotte by a lunatic. Well, here is that lunatic just months earlier. Did I see your Rumble rant? Did I see the Rumble rant? Did I miss a Rumble rant? I don't see your Rumble rant, JH. Did I miss it? You can check out, you can put it. I didn't see your rant. No. I didn't see you. I don't see it. Sorry. All right. So her lunatic killer apparently was apprehended or encountered the police just months before he butchered that poor young woman. And listen to the lunacy that they just let walk away. It's a little bit of a long encounter. It's a little over 4 minutes.
That's why it's funny. You just tell me what's going on.
My body got exposed to material. I need you guys to investigate due to the fact that medic ain't got no test or scan to investigate what my body got exposed to.
So he's basically, apparently they got called in for this, and this is what they heard from this guy.
And I've been doing this for like 3 years now.
What'd your body get exposed to? What'd your body get exposed to?
You guys have to investigate the name of the material to fix my emergency.
What was it? What was it?
That's what I'm trying to get to.
I don't want to get exposed to the material. What if it's on the paper?
No, it explains a little bit about the material to fix my emergency.
Well, what is it? What is your understanding of it?
It was authorized for a human body. It had to be, I'm pretty sure it wasn't created in somebody's tub. And I'm pretty sure it's authorized to help the human. And one of the special things about this material, you communicate to the human.
You communicate through the human. So he had something put in him, which basically now is enabling some entity to help communicate through him with humans. This is what this guy is saying.
Like, clearly, like even better than the phone. Promise you.
Who gave you this?
Somebody committed a crime and exposed me with it without my permission or authorization at all.
Okay.
So right then and there, that crime was committed.
What crime?
I'm drawing a blank on the assailant's name, but this is the assailant, the guy who killed. Maybe one of you can give it to me. I'm sure one of you will get it from me in half a second. But this is the guy who butchered Irina Zarutska on the Charlotte train. And he's basically saying that some entity is controlling his body. So I remember the name Irina Zarutska, but I think his last name is Brown. And so this is the lunatic. And the reason that this became a little bit of a story is because the police are encountering him just a couple of months before he butchered that woman, and they just let him walk away, even though he's very clearly talking like a psychopath who's claiming that someone's controlling his body. That's very disconcerting.
Let's see, when they did it to me, they gave me something that I didn't even know or wasn't aware of.
Who's that?
Okay, so you guys have that in y'all information already. asked Sarge, he had looked it up. He was like, okay, you did your part.
So there's already an investigation on the books then? So there's already an investigation in the books?
I did like 4 or 5 police reports, but they said they needed the evidence first.
Well, there's already an investigation. I can't step on anybody's toes and start another one. Well, there's already an investigation. I can't step on anybody's toes and start another one. Yeah. Is there anything else I can help you with tonight?
The Carlos Brown. That was it.
No, you say, what'd you say again?
So is there anything else I can help you with tonight?
Nah, but somebody's playing with my body, and I'm trying to figure out how to fix the problem.
Well, you had a good spot for it. You go to the hospital.
Or
did they discharge you already?
It ain't no material, or it ain't no scans or tests to show what my body got exposed to.
Right. Well,
medic is.
I'm just a cop. I can't treat you medical.
I don't need medic. Keep saying medic. I don't need medic.
Well, you're at a hospital. That's why you saying your body's need to be treated.
Okay, my body got exposed to something, but they don't have to test or scan to show what my body got exposed to.
Well, what do you want me to do about that?
The criminal fact was taking place. And you said, what you want me to do about it? And I've been trying to, I can't.
You told me you've already told police about that, right? So they've already looked into it.
They said they wanted the evidence, but they can't give me the evidence. So who's on next now?
There's nobody on next.
So somebody got this material, they can just play with my body because of what again?
You tell me.
Because the police said what?
You tell me. I don't know what they told you.
Name?
My name's Sergeant Hawkins.
Yeah, he should have read the goddamn paper. What's your name?
Sergeant Hawkins.
Sergeant Hawkins.
The bird. Yes, sir.
How good does this look when he say the police can't do a goddamn thing about it? That's what I told you, man. That's why I told him to read the goddamn paper.
Man, you explained on the paper.
Now let's go over this again without you reading the goddamn paper.
If you're gonna shout at me, I'm gonna walk away.
I will walk away. Thank you.
I'm coming here as a favor.
Thank you. We'll walk. Bye.
Anything I can do to help
That's it, Sarge.
All right.
You said the police can't do a goddamn thing about it. Bye.
We can't. All right. Cool. Okay. If you call this 911 again for some of this nonsense, we'll lock him up from the 911. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Take care of yourself, sir.
Thank you.
So a lot of people are very outraged by this. And they're like, how can the police let him go? They didn't know what this guy did.
The best way to explain it, you just tell them.
A lot of people are outraged by this. I don't think that's fair to the police, personally. This might be a bit of a hot take, but if you really think about it, even though we're all furious at this douchebag for what he did and the senseless violence and carnage that he brought, I don't think that these police are to blame at all, because they probably encounter folks like this all the time. You know, he seems like he's high on drugs. I don't know. I don't know what his particular poison is. And maybe he was. Maybe he was. So folks who basically are coming out and trying to bash the Charlotte police for not arresting him or bringing him in over here, and because, you know, recognizing that this guy is saying that his body is possessed, I think that that's a very, very harsh assessment. I think that's really unfair to the cops, because how the heck would they? I'm sure they see countless people like this all the time saying, you know, basically dribbling similar nonsense. And if you're gonna say all of them should be arrested because they might be a threat to society, I don't think we would want them to do that. Now, you know, if it's a persistent thing, and if it's not drugs, then that's a different thing. Not that I think they necessarily have facilities for that, because they closed them all. But yeah, that's why I wanted to share it with you so you can see it, but also sort of put yourself, now you're in the cop's shoes. So like, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to like arrest this guy because he's a potential threat to society, and what, hold him away? Yeah, if they were insane asylums, then and you test him and he's not positive for some sort of cocaine or similar narcotic, in that case, you know, you would say get him committed. These cops here. Mr. Carlos Brown Jr. is out there, but that doesn't mean he can end people's life. There's nothing legal that they could do. What law did he break? Exactly. There's nothing they can do. So I'm convinced at least 50% of crime will be solved. We reopen expanded asylums, increase it involuntary commitment. Yes. 100%. Yes. Definitely. Cops had not probable cause and would have violated the Fourth Amendment rights. Yeah, they would have, and everyone would have screamed that they were a bunch of racists. And you would never be able to prove that they did the right thing because it never would have happened. So you would never be able to show that they're doing the right thing. They would never even know that they did the right thing. So again, I don't think that they did anything wrong here. I think the way they conduct themselves was professional and appropriate. And yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Just wanted to get that out of the way. But now I want to turn our attention to today's events. There was an awful tragedy in Washington, D.C. today where 2 members of the National Guard were shot just blocks away from the White House. And the reports came out saying that they were killed. And while I've been doing this show, apparently those reports seem like they may have been premature. So let's look at this story a little bit more closely. So this is from Corbin Clifford saying 2 National Guardsmen have been shot blocks away from the White House today at 2:15 p.m. Eastern outside Farragut Square Park. One is dead and one is seriously injured. We've been told they're from the Alabama National Guard. See, told you I saw Alabama. I just sort of locked that away. One has been airlifted to the emergency room for serious medical help. All police forces in D.C. are on high alert. This happened by a very busy metro station called Farragut West. The alleged shooter is in custody. President Trump is at Mar-a-Lago. Most all members of U.S. Congress are already back in their home states, and no one else seems to be in danger at this time. The whole area of Farragut Square, that is approximately 3 blocks from the White House, is covered in multiple police agencies, locked down and secured at this time. Let's check out some of these videos. Everyone was sharing this clip. I don't know what we get from this. I guess this is the lockdown that's happening. I feel as if there's a lot of coverage, of video coverage of nothing with respect to this story, which I found very frustrating. Look at the next one. What are we getting from this? Finally, they have this picture here of the man who was shot. This is his head that's blurred in the picture. It's probably best for YouTube if I leave it that way. So all these tabs here are basically on this story. But Kimmy says that she got me updated news. So when I get to the next, this was Governor Patrick Morrisey. So he says, with great sorrow that we confirm both members of the West Virginia National Guard who were shot earlier today in Washington, D.C. have passed away from their injuries. That's what they reported earlier today. Now, again, just to let you know, folks are saying that that's not true, that they're not dead. That's so I'm gonna pull that up because I don't want to give misinformation. But what they reported was that these brave West Virginians lost their lives in the service of their country. We're ongoing contact with federal officials as the investigation continues. Our entire state agrees with their families, their loved ones, and the Guard community. West Virginia will never forget the service and sacrifice, and we demand full accountability for this horrific act. Okay. Yeah. Same thing with the Fuller Post here. This was another report that was on Fox saying that they passed away.
Okay, so we're watching live there, Vice President J.D. Vance speaking to the troops and saying a prayer and asking everyone in this country right now to say a prayer for the 2 National Guardsmen that have been shot today near the White House. He said he believes they're still in pretty tough condition and that soldiers are the sword and shield of the United States. Unfortunately, we might have a very sad update here. This is a statement from the governor of West Virginia, Governor Patrick Morrisey, on X right now, saying that 2 members of the West Virginia National Guard were shot earlier in Washington, D.C. And according to reports on the ground, 1 did not survive the attack and the other was taken to a nearby hospital. Denise and I are devastated by the news that 2 members of the West Virginia National Guard were shot earlier today. He goes,
until I see something saying otherwise, I'm assuming that they're
goes on to say they're in direct contact with our guard and other officials, and we are working to.
I'm going to assume that those reports are accurate, that he passed. His libs of TikTok pointing out how Alyssa Slotkin, one of the seditious 6, suggested a few days ago that the National Guard would start randomly shooting at Americans. She knew this was a lie. Anyway, now 2 National Guardsmen were shot. She knew what she was doing.
Makes me incredibly nervous that look at these videos coming out of places like Chicago. It makes me incredibly nervous that we're about to see people in law enforcement, people in uniform military get nervous, get stressed, shoot at American civilians. It is a very, very stressful situation for these law enforcement and for the communities on the ground. So
why are you not advising your constituents, do not impede ICE or the National Guard? You want to protest, do not impede them. Why do we not hear that everywhere? This is so aggravating. Why do we not hear that? Do not engage ICE. Do not engage the National Guard. Don't try to stand in the way of their vehicles. Don't get violent. Why don't we hear that from the left? You want to sit here with your retardo position of, we need to protect criminal illegal aliens from being deported. Fine. Be retarded in your own little freaking corner and stay there. But you should be advising your follower retards, hey, do not engage ICE, do not engage National Guard or any other member of the military in your zealousness to protect these illegal alien criminals from being deported. Where is that call? She runs out there to tell the military, don't listen to Trump. Then everyone's like defending her, saying that's the law. Where's her call for to uphold the law as to telling her own constituents, the lunatics who vote for her, who might actually listen to her, hey, don't impede them. You can protest, and she can say, when you're in a stupid position, you should protest, even though I think that that's retarded. But from her worldview, she should be saying you should protest, but do not impede them. Do not engage them. Do not engage in violence. Where is that call? Does anyone on the left do that? Tell me one person on the left. I want to see the guy or the woman. Tell me who that person is that says, I want you to go out there and peacefully protest. The way that Donald Trump did when he was reportedly starting an insurrection on January 6th. Is there any call for peace? Any at all? It's so outrageous that these lunatics on the left stand up there on their stupid soapboxes with their podiums and their vestibules or whatever it is they stand up there and shout on high as to how evil Trump is and there's fascism and there's racism and they're shooting at Americans and ratcheting up the violence without a single time telling their own stupid constituents, hey, you jackasses, don't engage ICE. Do not engage the National Guard. No matter how strongly you feel about it, no matter how outraged you are, do not get in their way, because all that will result from that is violence and bloodshed, likely yours. Why would you not do that if you were actually caring about this country? If you actually gave the slightest damn about how this country progresses over the next 3 years, why would you not do that? If you're actually interested in upholding the law, of actually getting people to follow and be patriotic. Where is your call for that, Alyssa Slotkin? Where's your demand for that, Mark Kelly? And I'm not just talking to them. I'm talking to the same stupid social media influencers, to the Krasensteins of the world, and I'm talking to the Brooklyn Dads. I'm talking to the media, the legacy media from ABC News, MSNBC, CBS, CNN. Where is your demand? Hey, do not engage ICE. I know you're mad. You should be protesting. Go pitch that stupidity. But they don't do that. And I think they purposefully do not do that. It's a very easy thing to do. And you want to know something? This is the same playbook that we saw with Obama. When we saw the riots in Ferguson, he had every opportunity to go in there and say, hey, chill out. I got this. There is racial injustice. I'll fix it. Hey, I'll go out there and I'll fix it. That's what he could have said. He could have said, but he didn't. Because they are always about instigating greater and more violence, about making the situation more precarious, because blood in the streets ends up justifying their baseless, insane claims that this is fascism. Where you're basically trying to put Trump and his military, the National Guard, in a position of basically kill or be killed, because that way you can then justifiably say, look what happened here. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at this. Look what happened. Why do we even need a National Guard to protect ICE? Why do we need that? Oh, because you never once came out there and said, hey, stay the hell out of ICE's way. Don't fight with them. You never did that. Instead, you encourage people to resist without ever once heeding any level of caution whatsoever. You are perpetuating evil. You are perpetuating violence and death and blood. That is what you are doing. You are not on the side of the angels. This is satanic. This is a call for there being more death, more bloodshed. This is not people who love America. This is people who are purposefully trying to make it burn for their own personal benefits, whether that's their own popularity, their own fame, the growth of their own bank accounts, or that they feel that sowing discord and mayhem ultimately will benefit them one way or another, their own political agenda. That's what we are seeing here. And that's why none of you ever call for peace, for peaceful protesting. You'll claim it was peaceful protesting, but you'll never even demand that they do it. American patriots. A friggin' joke. Here's another one of these lunatics. Chicago Mayor Brandon leading a protest. Crazy socialists who want to destroy this country. Look at these signs. We don't negotiate. Fascists. So what are you saying, loser? Idiots. Got a whole string of these people here. Here's some lunatic on CNN just a couple of weeks ago.
Actually, what the president is doing through the Secretary of Defense is creating units, official military units, to quite frankly watch the American people. And that's the thing that is absolutely abhorrent. It reminds me so much of what happened in Germany in the 1930s. Actually, what
Germany in the 1930s. Reminds me so much. Why? Why do they need to be watched? Oh, because they're attacking ICE. Do you tell people stop attacking ICE? No. Instead, when there's a natural reaction to people engaging in breaking the law by impeding federal officials in the course of their lawful duties, instead of telling people stop doing that, you get angry and have the audacity to ratchet up even higher that Trump is protecting people while they're engaging in carrying out what the law says they're supposed to be carrying out. People are sickening. Sickening. Democrats, you word like fascists to describe our National Guard to create permission structures for violence against them. Exactly. Like Priyapal. Problem Democrats like Pramila Jayapal have blood on their hands inside this violence against our National Guard. We need accountability. Now, to be fair, we don't know yet. We do not know yet that this is a leftist. It could have been someone else. It is true. But this is the time for us to actually try and stand in to basically force them to ratchet it back, to dial it back. We're living in an unprecedented moment. Donald Trump, an authoritarian leader, has deployed federal troops to the streets of D.C. is threatening other cities, but we the people will fight back against this fascism. What the hell does that even mean? What does that mean? We the people fight back against this fascism. What does it mean other than taking to the streets and engaging in violence? Who's the people? What are the people doing? What the hell does that even mean? The pigs in D.C. growing ever fatter while encouraging violence. There's Brandon Johnson again, socialist leader from Chicago.
We believe that the National Guard and the military occupation is the first step into rounding black people up and putting them in detainment camps here in Washington, D.C.
Always that. Always that. I'm not sure. This might not be Brandon Johnson.
And around the United States of
Not sure that's Johnson.
America.
I apologize. I don't want to misinform anyone.
We believe that.
Yeah, we believe that's what of course, it always comes back to like, this is how to hurt black people, right? That's what it always comes back to. So we believe that. Were you an idiot? Only a moron would believe that. What the hell does this have to do with black people? Why would that be the first step? How does that even translate? Stupid. Who's this lunatic? Just some regular activist. There's another lunatic. It's hard to keep my Illinois lunatic straight. I apologize for that. But this one is J.B. Pritzker.
Other than fighting crime. That's the first thing they should understand. The second is it's an attack on the American people.
It's an attack on the American people. So what are you telling people to do?
By the President of the United States. Now, he may disagree with
this freaking lunatic.
A state that didn't vote for him. But should he be sending troops in? No.
You said he has other aims. What are the other aims?
The other aims are that he'd like to stop the elections in 2026 or, frankly, take control of those elections other than fighting.
What the hell are you even talking about? Lunacy he'll never be fact-checked on. So let's start talking about the suspect here. Suspect for the shooting National Guard troops near the White House is now in custody per DC police. Thank God. It's unfortunate he's not in custody in a hearse. Should have taken him a Swiss cheese. So you can see that poor soul. I'll get more on that in a moment. Let me catch up because I see some of the chats came in here. I'm going to come to that in just a moment. Thank you, Kimmy. Colonial Islam is on the rise. Is there going to be a ninth crusade? Is this all trying to spark a civil war? It had been over 50 years since our last civil war and 734 years ago since the last crusade. I do think that it does feel as if there's an effort to try and pit us against each other and send us to war. Third DM send follow up on the West Virginia governor not dead. Oh, okay. I hope so. I hope that's true. Over 150 years ago, his last civil war. Yeah. Matthew pushing us toward the goal. Did we hit the goal? He sent one. And then he sent another one. Did we hit the goal? I know we're close. I know we're close. Yeah, that's right. Goal. Well done, gentlemen and ladies. Well done, ladies and gentlemen. I'll put ladies first. Jackals of Terra Argentum says, Happy Thanksgiving, Joe. Also, Trump needs to take a note from Perón and Franco and Pinochet's playbook and just start arresting these lunatics. Free speech is an issue here. Free speech is an issue. Justin, National Guard shooting suspect identified as Afghan national Ramanullah Lakanwal, who entered the U.S. in 2021 under Biden's open border. Of course. Of course! Of course! Of course! Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Hands One Pack says, sent DM Julia Ross has a report from LE what he shouted. All right, I'll try to check for that. Jade Schwalbach, here, take another 20. It's the holidays. Let the good in me connect with the good in others until the world is transformed through the compelling power of love, from Rav Nachman of Breslov. Okay. Remind me. I want to stay on topic here. Please remind me to tell you about Breslov. Something you guys would never know. Would never know. And I'll give you my thoughts on Breslov, the Breslov Hasidim, which are a very, very unique group of Hasidim. Very unique group of Hasidim. How many turkeys did the fat governor eat? I knew I need to read first. This one's okay. Illinois governor needs to go on a hunger strike in protest of President Trump. That would be a really good idea. Maybe if he did, he could just see how small his pants were. Richard, I didn't get to the end. I agree that one exists, but maybe not as a nation. Maybe as a nation, we have an entity. It ought not to be used as a shield to protect Marxist trash stage of a national crisis. Protect speech that's you don't like. It's a dangerous road to go down. It's a very, very dangerous road to go down. I cannot endorse that. I can't. All right. This is what Kimmy is sharing me just to update you on the health of these National Guards who should remain in our prayers. We're now receiving conflicting reports about the condition of our 2 Guard members, and we will provide additional updates once we receive more complete information. Our prayers are with these brave service members, their families, and the entire Guard community. What? How do you get this wrong? How do you get that wrong? It's embarrassing. Maybe they're on like I don't know. Maybe there's brain activity, but like, I don't know. I'm not even gonna speculate because then I'm gonna end up sounding like a Wisconsin governor. Trump, please announce the Insurrection Act live on TV on Thanksgiving Day. That would be awesome. So I'll give thanks. So I'll give thanks for the Insurrection Act. Anyway, Kimmy gave me more though. So Libby Evans reporting, breaking FBI investigating National Guard shooting as potential act of terrorism, suspected ID as Afghan national. According to the Post Millennial, the FBI is now investigating the ambush shooting of 2 National Guardsmen in Washington, D.C. as a possible act of terrorism. According to law enforcement sources who say the suspect has been identified as an Afghan national, Julio Rosas reports that a law enforcement source told him that the suspect shouted Allahu Akbar, which means God should be praised. God is great. During the confrontation with other guardsmen. 2 guardsmen were shot in the head, according to new reporting from NBC News, citing a U.S. official and senior official briefed on the investigation, reports NBC4. The suspected gunman was also shot and was transported to a local hospital. The guardsmen have been deployed on high visibility patrols near the White House and remain in critical condition in a local hospital. Shooting occurred around 2:15 p.m. near 17th and I Street Northwest, an area that has been seen increased National Guard and federal law enforcement presence in recent weeks. According to investigators, a gunman approached the patrol, raised a firearm, and opened fire at close range. The area is heavily trafficked by government and White House personnel. FBI Director Kash Patel described the attack as a heinous act of violence, targeting federal personnel during press conference on the investigation. Quote, 2 of our brave members of the National Guard and Department of War were brazenly attacked, Patel said. Make no mistake, they will be brought to justice. He confirmed the attack as being treated as an assault on a federal law enforcement, triggering a full federal response led by the FBI with assistance from DHS, Secret Service, ATF, DEA, and MPD.
We're here to brief you on the tragic events that happened today at approximately 2:15 local time in Washington, D.C., where 2 of our brave members of the National Guard and Department of War were brazenly attacked in a horrendous act of violence. They were shot. They're in critical condition. As you can see behind me, we have assembled the full force of both the federal and state and local law enforcement agencies to bring bear all of our resources to make sure we find the perpetrators responsible for this heinous act. And make no mistake, they will be brought to justice. Since this is an assault on a federal law enforcement officer, this will be treated at the federal level as an assault on a federal law enforcement officer. The FBI will lead out on that mission with our interagency partners to include the Department of Homeland Security, Secret Service, ATF, DEA. And we're thankful for the mayor's assistance in this matter, the Metropolitan Police Department and their skills in investigating homicides and gun shootings in this city is exceptional. We will work together collaboratively because this is a matter of national security, because it's a matter of pride. President Trump has been informed. We've been in contact with the White House. We will shortchange the American public with no resources to make sure we find and safeguard our nation's capital right here in Washington, D.C., and bring anyone responsible for this heinous act of violence to justice.
Go get him. Go get him, Cash. Hold on. I think Kimmy had a couple more for me also. Right. So she also shared with me, breaking the suspect in the DC National Guard shooting has been identified as 29-year-old Afghan illegal Ramanullah Lakhanwal, as Kathy mentioned. He was brought here in 2021 by Joe Biden. Of course, Biden and Mayorkas had blood on their hands while staging the attack. He screamed Allahu Akbar. Let's see what we got. That's get that low. Make this bigger. I assume this is a video of them apprehending Lockenwell. That's good. Terrible. This whole story is terrible. So this is the guy. This is reported the wounded suspect who shot 2 National Guard members near the White House. Seditious 6 helped create this climate of violence and should be held accountable for the reckless rhetoric. National Guard troops in D.C. are not illegal despite their false claims. I assume, and this is purely assumption on my part, which I'm hesitant to give. My assumption is that perhaps, I don't think he's likely, assuming he's, Afghani. It's unlikely he showed up to the scene dressed like this. When you first see this, you think to yourself, all right, this is some trans weirdo, right? I mean, that's what you're going to assume. And I thought that this up here was not a beard, but perhaps a face guard thing that had been pushed up over his face. That's what I had assumed when I first saw this. But with him being identified this way, based on this blurry photo that we have, I would assume that he likely was stripped down after he was apprehended to ensure that he didn't have a bomb strapped to him, which would make sense, right? So if you think that he might have a bomb strapped to him, you'd want to strip him down to ensure that he's not going to blow himself up and harm a lot of people. So that would explain why it is that it looks like his jackets have been pulled down and things of that nature to sort of, they had clothing that was sort of yanked off of him for the purposes of ensuring the safety of the public. That's what I would assume. That's my best guess for you. Which would make sense. Just a horrible story. Do you guys want me to check out Kash Patel's, like, more from his thing, from his press conference? Let me see how long his press conference is.
We're here to brief you on the tragic events.
It's only 8 minutes long. Let's do it. So I sort of feel like we put a bow on this story.
That happened today at approximately 2:15 local time in Washington, D.C., where 2 of our brave members of the National Guard and the Department of War were brazenly attacked in a horrendous act of violence. They were shot. They're in critical condition. As you can see behind me, we have assembled the full force of both the federal and state and local law enforcement agencies to bring bear all of our resources to make sure we find the perpetrators.
What's going on? Still playing.
Assembled the full force of both the federal and state and local law enforcement agencies to bring bear all of our resources to make sure we find the perpetrators responsible for this heinous act. And make no mistake, they will be brought to justice. Since this is an assault on a federal law enforcement officer, this will be treated at the federal level as an assault on a federal law enforcement officer. The FBI will lead out on that mission with our interagency partners, to include the Department of Homeland Security, Secret Service, ATF, DEA. And we're thankful for the mayor's assistance in this matter, the Metropolitan Police Department and their skills in investigating homicides and gun shootings in this city. is exceptional. We will work together collaboratively because this is a matter of national security, because it's a matter of pride. President Trump has been informed. We've been in contact with the White House. We will shortchange the American public with no resources to make sure we find and safeguard our nation's capital right here in Washington, D.C., and bring anyone responsible for this heinous act of violence to justice. I would lastly like to add to the American public and the world, please.
He sounds a little nervous, like he's mispronouncing words, like he's saying collaboratively instead of collaboratively, and saying, well, shortchange with no resources. When he says, well, not, he means to be saying not shortchange with any resources. He's breathing heavy. He seems as if like this moment is catching up with him. Just give me my honest take.
Send your prayers to those brave warriors who are in critical condition and their families. They are here serving our country. They are here protecting everyday Americans and citizens around the world in our nation's capital. They are the heroes of this day, and we must remember them on this day and every day, and their families and the sacrifice they have made. I will now turn it over to Chief Carroll of the Metropolitan Police Department. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeff Carroll. I'm the Executive Assistant Chief here at the Metropolitan Police Department. At approximately 2:15 this afternoon, members of the DC National Guard were on high visibility patrols in the area of 17th and I Street Northwest when a suspect came around the corner, raised his arm with a firearm, and discharged it at the National Guard members. The National Guard members, there were other members that were in the area. They were able to, after some back and forth, able to subdue the individual and bring him into custody. Within moments, members of law enforcement in the area were also able to assist and bring that individual into custody. At this time, as the director mentioned, the National Guard members are being treated at a local hospital. DC Fire and EMS responded to the scene to provide first aid for those individuals and transport them to a local hospital. The suspect in this case was also transported for treatment at a local hospital. Madam Mayor?
I'm Muriel Bowser. I'm the mayor of Washington, D.C., and I, too, want to send my thoughts and prayers to the families of the guardsmen and to the guardsmen who are in critical condition in a local hospital. I am joined by members and leadership from the D.C. National Guard, from the West Virginia National Guard, United States Secret Service, Deputy Mayor Pia, Fire Chief Donnelly, and Metro's General Manager Randy Clark. And we join with the FBI Director in ensuring that MPD investigates, the U.S. Attorney prosecutes this case to the fullest extent of the law. I've had the opportunity to brief U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi, who was speaking to the president when I called, as well as the United States Attorney Pirro, who assured me that this case will have her office's complete attention.
Mayor, was there any other suspect?
Chief?
Sure. So no, at this time, there was no indication that there was any other suspect. The one suspect that was involved in this incident, they were shot during the interaction, and they were transported to the hospital for treatment.
Mayor, does this validate the need for the National Guard here in D.C.?
Good question.
What we know, Andrea, is that this is a targeted shooting. One individual who appeared to target these guardsmen, that individual has been taken into custody.
Mayor, can you tell us about more details on the condition of the two National Guards, whether or not anyone else was injured? And a quick question follow-up for the FBI Director. You said that we'll make sure we find the perpetrators for this act. So just to clarify, the person believed to be responsible is in custody and there are no other suspects.
Sure, so I can start out. Again, Chief Carroll from MPD. So both the individuals, the guard members, they are in critical condition at a local hospital at this time being treated. At this point, we have no other suspects. We have reviewed video from the area. It appears, like I said, to be a lone gunman that raised a firearm and ambushed these members of the National Guard, and he was quickly taken into custody by other National Guard members and law enforcement members. No, at this time, obviously, we're very in the preliminary stages of investigation. There's a lot of things, a lot of agents that are here from various federal agencies, law enforcement agencies. We have the full power of the FBI and our federal partners here in the task force. So we're looking at all those different aspects, but we don't have any motive. The National Guardsmen that were shot, I'm told they were armed.
Do they get off shots?
At this time, as part of the preliminary investigation.
We know how the suspect was happened.
Chief?
Sure. So how the suspect was apprehended, as I said, the individual, the suspect came around the corner. He immediately started firing a firearm at the 2 National Guard members. So at that time, there were other National Guard members that were in the area. They heard the gunfire. They actually were able to intervene and to kind of hold down the suspect after he had been shot on the ground until law enforcement got there within moments.
And he was shot by a National Guardsman?
At this point, we're still investigating exactly who shot that individual. It's not clear at this time.
Were there DC policemen in the area?
We don't know what kind of weapon. There was DC police. It happened right in front of the Metro, although there is no indication that the perpetrator was on the Metro. So there's Metro Transit Police in the area, and obviously being on 17th Street by the White House, Uniform Division of Secret Service were in the immediate area as well.
What kind of weapon the alleged perpetrators used?
We do not know at this time. It's still under investigation.
We're going to be able to take a couple more.
Has been able to question the suspect, or is his condition so severe that you haven't been able to have a conversation?
Sure. Again, so as I said, we're very preliminary in the investigation.
Those are actually good questions. That is a good question. Do you have to wait? Like, maybe you can't question him now, or is he able to be questioned?
So we're looking to all aspects of who the individual is, his connections. At this time, he's still in the hospital receiving treatment.
And I would just like, hang on.
That's not an
I would
answer.
just like to add, the reason that this suspect is in custody is because of the bravery of the men and women of the National Guard who responded due to their extensive training to secure American lives today. There was not any further injury and any further shootings.
Yep.
We should highlight the fact that the men and women of law enforcement, the interagency, the Department of War, and the National Guard executed their training with great precision today and prevented an even greater tragedy from befalling us.
True.
These National Guardsmen
Good point,
are
Cash.
heroes, and we must pray for their safety and their speedy recovery. And as the chief said, we are in the preliminary stages of this investigation. We will run down every single lead, every piece of evidence. This is the power of the U.S. government.
That's his way of saying, don't tell me it's a lone gunman. We have no way of knowing that. I mean, yeah, we see one person here now, but we don't know it's a lone gunman. That's what he's saying here.
It's best at the state, local, and federal level. That is why this interagency group is standing behind us to assure America and the world that we will continue to keep DC safe. And thankfully, we have Metropolitan Police Department, the National Guardsmen, and federal agents, and the Department of Justice and Attorney General willing to prosecute the mission to keep Americans safe. And President Trump has rightly stated that this heinous act will be investigated, and he has thanked the National Guardsmen and women and the men and women of law enforcement.
Did the suspect say anything at the time? Why did the West Virginia governor say that they
Yeah, why did the West Virginia governor say that? These are good questions. Colonial Islam is responsible. Look no further than those protesters flying foreign flags of radicals. This will begin to ramp up. Wait for the holidays. This is a show of force illustrating that they are gaining strength. Could happen. You may, I hope you end up proving wrong, but that could happen. Sometimes there are isolated incidents which don't seem as if they're really tied together, so to speak. We saw 9/11, and then years later we saw the Boston Marathon bombing. You see this, right? These don't seem like they're related to each other than that they have a common tangent of there being Islamic fundamentalism rearing its head in violence, which we've seen across the globe. And does that mean that this is now like America is a more dangerous place today than it was yesterday, and that we're about to see a series of attacks? I wouldn't venture to go that far and say that that's an assumption we can make. Everyone should always be cautious in general, but I mean, there also was, and I think there was in a gay club in Orlando, right? There was another shooting. So we've seen numbers of attacks since going back to 9/11. But my point is, while you can point to Islamic fundamentalism as being at the root of it, does that mean that there's any sort of central individual who is tying all this together, rather than it just being a general fomenting of fundamentalism? And there are, 1 billion Muslims across the world. So I don't know that there's necessarily a tie. I'm not saying it can be ruled out, but I would, if we see like a number of attacks happening, frankly, I forgot about also New Orleans. There's a lot of attacks. There's been a lot of attacks. But I don't know, this one is like we don't tend to think of, let's put it this way, we don't tend to think of them as being carried out by individuals who have a direct nexus with each other, either on an individual level or through some central agency. I mean, I haven't heard of anyone even asserting the claim, much less this being a widely held perception. So I hope you're wrong. I'm not saying you are wrong. I'm saying I hope you're wrong, and it really could be just like New Orleans, Orlando, Boston, or New York. New York at least was a more coordinated attack, right? You had all these different individuals working together rather than a lone individual. So that's what gave it, I think, more gravitas. It wasn't one person who just popped up there, but a teams of people who work together. All right. While we're on the topic of ICE, I should share this with you in National Guard. So Karoline Leavitt is in the news because a relative of hers was picked up, or I shouldn't say relative of hers, a relative of a relative was picked up by ICE. Here's Brian Krasn's team breaking it down for you. Well, let me get to let me make sure that I didn't miss anything more. Before I move on to Karoline Leavitt. Sean Spicer reporting the shooter shot a female guardsman, then secured her weapon and shot her again in the head before firing on others. FJB. Yeah. I'm not going to go on a limb and assume that the gender of the guardsman played a role in this. I think that's a bit premature. I don't know that I think that there are probably, I would assume that the majority of female members of the military are skilled and capable of carrying out the positions that they're assigned to, certainly under this administration. I wouldn't trust the last administration in that regard, but in this administration, I would hope that that's the case. Acting under Pete Hegseth, I would hope that's the case. Colonial Islam's goal is world dominance. That I agree with. Look at the EU, Canada, other countries that does not have our population of armed citizens. DC has strict gun laws that limit citizens' ability to be armed. They targeted the military. So here's the thing. According to you, you can say, well, why not target the people who are unarmed, right? I'm just trying to be fair here and giving a fair assessment of the situation. I agree with you that colonial Islam, that there is a notion of colonial Islam of basically trying to take over the world and have Islam become the only religion in the world. That's definitely a thing. That's certainly a widely held belief amongst many Muslims. Not all of them, but many. And I do think that what we've been seeing is this mass migration objective, which I think is purposeful. I do think that's purposeful to try and basically create more and more outposts across the globe of Islam. So I wouldn't point to this individual who's in Dearborn and say that they're part of like some sort of movement. You don't need people to be a part of a movement to create a community. You have people create a community and then others will come in, right? So it's sort of like, I say this all the time. I brought this up in the context of Democrats stealing elections. I was talking about this all the way back in 2021. You don't need to have people all be on the same page. You need to have enough people who are basically creating a situation that enables your agenda to flourish. And they need to basically be working together for the most part, or on some type of level, and then allow people to do what people will naturally do. So in the context of elections, I was saying you don't need to actually be stealing be the ones stealing it, to create an environment where cheating an election is easily done, because you know there's so many people out there who are all too happy to cheat. And then you can just spread the word that cheating in this election will be a very easy thing to do and unlikely to be really enforced. So that creates an environment where people you don't even know are going out there and will be cheating in the election. So then people will go out there and do your bidding for you without you even telling them to. To be fair, this is the criticism that the left has had of Trump, right? So in other words, they'll say that he'll say things and then some jackass follower of his will do something violent or illegal. And that he's trying to create and foster that type of environment. The reason that Jasmine Crockett's of the world make their lunatic type of statements of like, passing this law or stringing this up is that, she's basically saying that they're trying to create a situation for this evil to be perpetrated against us, while they themselves go out there and purposefully certainly create environments which any idiot would recognize is designed to enable people to cheat. So similarly, now let's bring it back away from elections and left versus right and bring it into the context of what guys is talking about here, which is that, colonial Islam. If you have enough people who believe in the colonialism of Islam, they don't need to be working together. You don't need to have people from Dearborn working with people from Australia, working with people from Canada, working with people from Great Britain or from Germany or from Ireland or any of these other countries where we see these different communities flourishing. You just need to have a bunch of people just go out there and start migrating in that direction, and others will flow. Two and two make 4 or 22. Both are true at the 4 or 22. Both are true at the same time. Yes, I think that's the point. I missed this thing that Hands One Pack sent me a DM. Let me see if I can find that before I go on to Karoline Leavitt. Let me just see if I can get that real quick. Hands One Pack said he shared with me something. Oh, this is interesting. So we didn't hear much about the actual fracas. Julio Rosas reporting, law enforcement source in D.C. tells me the National Guardsman shooting suspect is an Afghan national. He used a revolver. A National Guardsman who was not armed with a firearm used a pocket knife to stab the suspect. Another guardsman responded to the gunfire and shot the suspect multiple times. The suspect reportedly shouted, Allahu Akbar. I only now recognize that that's Afghan. The Hands One Pack, I don't know why I never really put all that together. Pinochet says this press conference is no different than you would find in the 1980s Soviet Russia. Pinochet also says, instead of vetting the Afghan migrants, which was the specific job of the FBI, they were investigating Catholics and parents at school boards. Yep. I was in the National Guard and activated during the Boston Marathon bombing. I stood in the streets of Boston unarmed in a soft patrol cap and yellow vest. That must have been terrifying. I'm glad you were okay. All right. So let's talk about Karoline Leavitt. This is what the Brian Krasensteins of the world are saying about this story. You may have heard about this story, you may not, but this is what they are saying.
This has got to be one of the most ironic things you'll ever hear. You know Karoline Leavitt, who constantly defends Trump's inhumane ICE actions, right? Well, these are her brothers, and one of them has a kid. And this is the mother of that kid. Her name is Bruna Ferreira, and ICE just arrested her for overstaying a visa from 26 years ago. But Leavitt cares more about pleasing a convicted felon than helping her own family. This is...
What? 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 Pleasing a convicted felon and helping her own family. Everything about that concluding sentence is so retarded. Yes, because he's convicted. That's why she wants to please him. Stupidest thing in the world. So dumb. So, Karoline Leavitt's brother has a child, and his baby mama is an illegal alien who's been here for 26 years, and she was picked up by ICE. That's the big scoop here. What do you think she should do? Should she try to stand up for this woman? Is that what you're saying, Brian? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? Does she try to break the rules for her own family? Is that what you're endorsing? And she should just like say, oh, no. Rules for thee, not for me. Is that what you should be saying? What the heck are you saying? Oh, because she has a relative that we shouldn't be deporting people? A relative of a relative? A baby mama of a relative? What the hell does that even mean? What does that even mean? Anyway, we got a full story here from the New York Post. It says, criminal illegal alien mother of White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt nephew nabbed by ICE. The criminal illegal alien mother of White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt. I don't like how they put that in quotes, criminal illegal alien. She is a criminal. White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt's nephew has been detained by federal immigration officials in Massachusetts. Bruna Carolina Ferreira, a Brazilian native, was taken into custody earlier this month in Revere, Massachusetts, near Boston, after overstaying a tourist visa, according to DHS. Ferreira is a, quote, criminal legal alien who had a previous arrest on suspicion of battery, a DHS spokesperson told NBC News. Not clear how the case was resolved, and the Post cannot independently confirm the alleged charge. DHS did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Quote, she entered the U.S. on a B-2 tourist visa that requires her to depart by the U.S. by June 6, 1999, the spokesperson told NBC. She's currently at the South Louisiana ICE Processing Center and is in removal proceedings under President Trump and DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. All individuals unlawfully present in the United States are subject to deportation. Ferreira shares an 11-year-old son with Leavitt's older brother, Michael. The couple were previously engaged and have joint custody, according to her attorney, Todd Pomerleau. Ferreira was arrested while driving to pick up her son from New Hampshire, where he lives with his father, Pomerleau told CNN. Karoline Leavitt, the country's youngest White House press secretary at 28, does not have a relationship with Ferreira. The two women have not spoken in many years, a source told WMUR. So I don't think she's going to be interceding, and I don't think she looks at Miss Ferreira as being family. Not that she should act any differently, even if she did. Michael Leavitt, for his part, said Ferreira had maintained a relationship with her son, but that the boy had lived with him since birth. The only concern has always been the safety, well-being, and privacy of my son, Michael Leavitt told the local outlet. Maybe he's looking for individual custody. He's like, hey, ICE, she's in New Hampshire. I don't care. She's not legal. I don't care. I have no sympathy here. Ferreira's attorney insisted in a statement to the Post that his client has no criminal record. We dispute that she has any criminal record, Pomerleau said. Pomerleau also said that Ferreira maintained her legal status under the Obama-era Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, DACA, program. She's in the process of actually getting her green card, and she was abruptly arrested and taken from her young child right before Thanksgiving. Ferreira's son hasn't spoken to his mother since her arrest, the lawyer added. I guess that's Michael and Karoline. So there you go. Quote, I'm just trying to fight to get her out of jail. She should not be sitting in jail hours away from her family and from her child's life. She's a great mom, from what I heard. I think he's a pretty good dad, he said. His mother's locked up in Louisiana, where she never should have been in the first place, Pomerleau said of Michael Leavitt and Ferreira's son. Since taking office, Trump and his team have organized a mass deportation campaign, not massive enough, which includes a push for people illegally in the country to self-deport, as well as major law enforcement operations involving ICE, Border Patrol, National Guard, etc. That's her with her son. That's not the kid. A relative of Ferrera set up a GoFundMe for her, saying she was brought to the U.S. as a child in 1998 and followed all protocols. Since then, she's done everything in her power to build a stable, honest life here. She's maintained her legal status through DACA, followed every requirement, and strived to do the right thing, the fundraiser claims. In 2014, Michael Leavitt won $1 million from a DraftKings daily fantasy football contest. Wow, go Michael. Go Michael. At the time, he was engaged to Ferrera, and their son was 8 months old. The young family posed for pictures on a giant novelty check provided by the gambling site. Quote, "I need the lights fixed on the back of my car," Ferrera told the North Andover Mass Eagle Tribune at the time, "and we need a lamp for my son's room. Other than that, we don't really need much. We have our health. We have a nice condo. We really are blessed." Wow. Who knew? Who knew Karoline's brother was so good at fantasy football? That's pretty impressive. Things I did not expect to learn tonight. Ambitiously gay duo. Yeah. So I say, if she's not helping her brother's baby mama, okay, that just makes her consistent, right? I don't understand. It actually speaks well of Karoline. Tells us good things about her. I don't know why people are complaining. Everyone's always looking for a reason to complain. Let me do a quick check here, see what else I was supposed to talk about. Let me do a quick check. Is there anything else I need to cover? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. We had this story. Where are you? All right, I'll pull it up. I need to make sure I cover all my bases. If I promise a story, I aim to keep that promise. Actually, 2 more stories. 2 more stories. One that's a little weird. One that's a little weird, involving a celebrity. And one that's kind of funny. So Jamie Booker, we'll go to the funny one first. Say the celebrity, because I don't really care much about celebrities, but I figure some of you might. Female lifter slams Jamie Booker, a male, for stealing a woman's place and title in the women's power competition. Here she is, very upset, and properly so. This is that a female lifter urges people to protect women's sport after a male won the world's strongest woman competition. The strongest woman in the world apparently is a man.
Free to be exactly who you want to be in this world.
Now, one of the things that annoys me about this video from this woman who's a lifter herself is that the need to walk on eggshells, that I need to, and she does, because otherwise she's going to get doxxed and slammed and people will be making her crazy if she doesn't pretend that she's an ally of the trans community. She should say, "You're all a bunch of freaks and you're my sport. Get the hell out of my sport." That's what she should say. That'd be the base thing to say. You're a bunch of freaks and go be a freak in your own little corner, but stop trying to invade our lives. That's what she should say. Just say. Get help also. That'd be a good thing to add. Throw in there.
Hi there. My name is Morgan Irons, and I'm a pro-strong woman from the United States. And I came on here to address the issue that has been brought to light within the strongman community within the last 24 hours. There has been an individual, Jamie Booker, who has been competing as a biological male within the women's division of strongman. I just want to preface
what she's trying to say is he got a penis. That's what they're trying to say. That's what they're trying to say. And they say biological male. Apparently, that was against the rules. Apparently. Shockingly, that's still against the rules.
with the fact that I have no ill will or hatred towards the trans community in any way, shape, or form. You are free to be exactly who you want to be in this world.
Stop it.
As am I. But at the end of the day, this comes down to a lack of transparency and honesty.
Or too much transparency with those shorts he was wearing.
This individual competed in the women's division as a biological man, plain and simple. As a woman, this is very, very frustrating because their participation in the women's division has taken away prize money, podium finishes, national bids, and a pro card from biological women. The individual at hand has also raised money under false pretenses to get to these competitions, with many contributions coming from women within the sport.
You see, I lose a lot of respect because of the whole kowtowing to the trans, I lose a lot of respect. A lot of respect.
This needs to be addressed as soon as possible by every federation in the sport to protect us. If we do not...
It's fence straddling. That's what it is. And look, you can be on the left. You can be on the right. You can sit on the left side of you can sit both your legs on the left side of the fence or on the right side of the fence, but when you try and straddle, that's when you feel the pain.
Not come together and fight this, we will be erased, and everything that women have fought tooth and nail for to get here will be void. I urge you to stand with women and protect us. We can do this without being hateful, but we need to have...
Hey, you should be hateful. The reason you're in this situation is because you ain't being hateful enough. You should be hateful.
A unified stance on this and stand with resolve. Please help us protect women's sports.
Yeah, if you want to protect women's sports, get more hateful. Stop trying to say, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. No, just say, get the hell out. You don't belong here, get the hell out. Stop calling trans women stunning and brave. Stop it. When everyone knows it's not true. No one thinks it's true. Stop it. It's really very simple. You can give them sympathy. As far as I feel bad that your brain is so screwed up that you think you actually switch genders. That's okay. That's okay. That's fine. But to sit there and say like, I support your right to be you. All right. So they're being that. Then they're being them. You can't have your cake and eat it too. At a certain point, you need to take a position. You need to say, no, you're not a woman. Just say it. You're not a freaking woman. I don't care about what dress you are. I don't care if you shave your armpits. You're not a woman. So you can throw a skirt on it. It's not going to change anything. You're still not a woman. Just say it. You're so strong, so physically strong, and character-wise, I'm sorry, it's cowardice. It's cowardice. Just say it. Say truth. Don't be afraid of saying truth. There's more. Athletic company cuts ties with Jamie Booker, a man pretending to be a woman who won the world's strongest woman. Iron Ape, an athletic company, says they cut tie with Jamie Booker and removed him from the roster after an investigation revealed he misrepresented critical information, resulting in an unfair advantage, meaning that his dingaling was flopping around. He didn't tell us about the dingaling. As of approximately 9 a.m. Central Time, we are notified of a controversy surrounding one of Iron Ape's athletes and their performance at the official Strongman Games. Upon further investigation, we have reason to believe that Jamie Booker misrepresented critical information to OSG officials and judges, resulting in an unfair advantage over the other competitors in the women's open class. Effective immediately, Jamie Booker has been removed from the Iron Ape athlete roster. He's no longer affiliated with our brand in any way. Not a matter of Jamie's gender identity, should be. Iron Ape does not and never will discriminate against individuals based on gender, race, sexual orientation, or any other personal characteristic. It's not discriminate. It's calling them out for what they are. That's not discrimination. I say, look, you're still a dude. That's not discriminating. To say I refuse to accept your fabrication of truth is not discrimination. That is just holding fast to truth. We expect every Iron Ape athlete to uphold the highest standards of sportsmanship. When those standards are violated, decisive action must be taken. Look how afraid they are of saying we're firing this trans woman. They're so afraid of saying it. Iron Ape remains committed to fostering a competitive environment built on transparency, respect, and accountability. One of the comments being some knucklehead saying F you, and they're saying F me for holding someone accountable for their cheating and misrepresentation. And then the Strongman game stripped Jamie of his titles, claiming they didn't know he was male. We want to provide an update on what is happening following the official Strongman Games World Championships 2025, which were held in Arlington, Texas over the weekend. It appears athlete who's biologically male and who now identifies as female competed in the women's open category. Official Strongman officials were unaware of this fact ahead of the competition, and we have been urgently investigating since being informed. An intent has been made to contact the competitor involved, but a response has not been received. Had we been aware, or had this been declared at any point before or during the competition, this athlete would not have been permitted to compete in the women's open category. We are clear. Competitors can only compete in a category for the biological sex recorded at birth. So this is something they're not okay with the trans people, even if they cut off their dinkle and berries. Good for you, strongmen people. Official Strongman is inclusive and proud to run events which do not discriminate against athletes based on personal characteristics. It's very simple. Trans women, it's very simple. Go compete in the men's. You can compete. Go to the men's. Any athlete is welcome, but it's our responsibility to ensure fairness and ensure athletes are assigned to men or women's categories based on whether they're recorded as male or female at birth. Given this, we have disqualified the athlete in question from the official Strongman World Championships 2025. All athletes' points and places will be altered accordingly to ensure that the rightful places are allocated to each of the women open athletes. Official Strongman World Championships is an event which is rightly one of the pinnacles of the strength world. Maybe. We are disappointed on behalf of all those who fairly and legitimately took part that the attention is taken away from their efforts, which deserve celebration no matter how they performed or where they finished. We stand with them and stand with fairness. So that's the right approach. That's the right approach. And now Ken Paxton is opening investigation after a male won the world's strongest women competition, in Texas. Let's go! Stripped him another title. Life is not good for Jamie. Jamie Booker's second place finish at the 2025 North America's Strongest Women Competition in Canada has just been revoked. And more statements about that. So there you go. See my previous comment, YouTube AI censor wouldn't let it through super chat. I gotta find it. Let me see what he said. He wrote, I like a woman with muscles. I just want them to be a woman like Gina Carano. Indeed. And we did earn our added time, our bonus time. We're not there yet. One quick story I want to cover for you.
Hey, Betty. Hey, Debbie. New stuff.
That's not good. Tara Reade said, I was drugged at a bar. What? What? I would cover this for you, but I don't believe in TMZ because they're scum and they celebrated the death of Charlie Kirk, so we're not reading their articles. But I'll reluctantly go to Fox News. Tara Reade said she was drugged at a hotel bar, taken to Chicago hospital. American Pie actress Tara Reade claims she was drugged at a hotel bar in Chicago. What? Really not necessary.
We had the, remember when they were in Vegas? We had the, we call it, what was they drinking?
That's Tara Reade. She's slurring her. She's slurring. Look at her. She really looks like she was drugged.
Put that to the chair. Put that to the chair. Give her a second. Give her a second. You touch me again, we're gonna have a problem. Give her a second.
I gotta look at her. That is her. That is her.
She can't even talk to me. I didn't know she was.
Wow. Wow. She looks drugged.
I want to take you to your room. Sit on the chair.
Is that pathetic?
That's horrible that someone did this to her. Someone tried cosbying this woman. Can you think of how sick this is that someone would want to do that for the purposes of engaging in sexual activity with a person in that condition? Like, think of just how sickening that is. How twisted. Oh my God. Like, how demented and poisoned is your brain that you think, oh yeah, that's something I want to do. Some people are sick. I feel bad. I don't even want to watch the rest of this. I feel bad, like, displaying her like this. It's horrible. I feel like I watched too much of that already. I need to. All right. Horrible. Tara Reade was taken out of a Chicago hotel on a stretcher after a drink was allegedly tampered with and caused her to become incoherent. According to video footage obtained by TMZ, Reade, who was in Chicago for Comic-Con, appeared disoriented and several people helped her into a wheelchair. Slurring her words and visibly confused, she was seen clinging onto a hotel guest before being seated. Another clip, the American Pie alum was seen being taken out of the hotel on a stretcher by paramedics while with onlookers shouting words of support. A source told Fox News Digital that Reade had gone down to the hotel bar to enjoy a drink and a cigarette. After going outside to have a smoke, she returned to the bar and noticed her glass of wine had a napkin on top of it. The source said Reade thought that was strange, as she did not recall placing a napkin there. She took 2 sips of wine. Before she knew it, she woke up in a hospital, the source said. Reade's agent picked her up from the hospital, and the pair flew back to L.A. She's very worried about people leaving their drinks unsupervised, and she's traumatized by the incidents, as well she should be. A representative for Reade said she's in the process of filing a police report. Tara Reade is in the process of filing a police report after an incident which she believes her drink was tampered with. A representative for Reade told Fox News Digital. Tara is recovering and asked for privacy during this traumatic time. She also urges everyone to be careful, watch your drinks, and never leave them unattended, as this can happen to anyone. She will not be making further comment at this stage. You see, this is the sort of thing, they find the person who did this. These people these people should be transed. That's what should happen. They should be transed. Police told people on Monday Reade had not yet filed a report. 2023, Reade opened up to Fox News Digital about bullying she's endured throughout her career. I feel like I've been bullied a lot, in my life, who was competing on Special Forces World's Toughest Test at the time. I kind of want to do the show because I want people to see the other side of me. She continued, and stop bullying me for kind of always the same things and let them see, I'm not just this girl who's 21 and partying in American Pie. I'm 47 years old now. I'm a woman, and I want them to see that I'm strong, and I do have a heart, and I do care. This is terrible that this happened to her. I wish her nothing but blessing. That's terrible. That's really terrible. And I guess if you're a woman, be alert. If you're going to bars, not just in Chicago, be alert. Don't leave your drinks unattended. That's horrible. It's a horrible story. Wow. Duckfat says, how good are you going to be at fantasy football this week, Joe? How confident are you against the Duck? So I want to bet money. He's very, very excited. I'm playing Duckfat this week. And he's considered, when I last looked at it, like an 8-point favorite against me this week. We're tied. He's considered an 8-point favorite. Not that he has as many points as I have this year. But we are tied. And he has a lot of good matchups. So, yeah, looks like he's going to be a tough opponent. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. He looks like he's going to be a tough opponent this week. My team is ripe to have problems. It's definitely true. I don't think people want to see like the matchup, right? I don't think people want to see that. I think it's time for me to get to phone calls. You can talk to me about Thanksgiving. You can talk to me about what's going on in your life. You can ask me advice. You can talk to me about the shooting in the National Guard or about Steve Witkoff, if that's your pleasure. If your deal. Tara Reade. Whatever it is that's your pleasure, please feel free to call in. You can talk to me about Thanksgiving. That would be really cool. Tell me like what your plans are, especially different kind of plans or any weird Thanksgiving traditions. That would be awesome. You might be saying, Joe, how are we supposed to call in? What do we do? What do we do? How do I get in there? Well, the answer to that question is simple. It's very, very simple. All you do is just dial on a phone the way you would any other phone. The phone number is about to be flashed across your screen here. It's 972-454-0703. 972-454-0703. This is courtesy of Matt Felty. Countless others who contributed to make sure we reached our goal tonight. God bless you. And if I talk to you or not, I'm wishing you a happy Thanksgiving. I'm also telling you it's around that time that you should hit the like and subscribe buttons. So you should probably be doing that thereabouts now. Hit the like and subscribe and drop a comment afterwards, just saying it's so cool when Joe talks to people from the audience. Because I don't know anyone else who does this. Not anyone in my genre. So, yeah, if you want to hear from me and I also plan. Oh, so there's a couple other things I want to talk to you my thoughts about Thanksgiving, which I'll do during the course of this segment. And I promised Jade Schwalbach. I remember I promised to him that I would tell him about Breslov. So you can call in at any time, by the way, while I'm talking. So right. I got this.
Call from
Kerboy 58.
Kerboy 58. Is that what you said?
Yep. Turboy 58.
Turd boy.
Turboy. Terboy 58.
Okay. That's better name. That's a better name than
Yes, it is.
Can I call you by a different first name?
Leslie.
All right, Leslie, let's do it.
That's my first name, but otherwise you can just call me anything.
All right.
No, just call in and say hi.
Oh, thank you. What are you doing for Thanksgiving? Do you have plans? You got good plans for Thanksgiving?
I'm invited to go to some in-laws for the day, but my stepson said, I won't go if she's there, so I'm not going to go. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I'll tell you that I haven't really shared this publicly. You're the first one I'm telling, so don't tell anyone else. It's a secret, okay, Leslie?
Sure.
When I was growing up, Thanksgiving was like a very big deal as far as family getting together for Thanksgiving. My parents were big believers in Thanksgiving, which is not common in the Orthodox Jewish community. Most of them think of it as being a Christian holiday. I don't look at it that way. It's being a Christian holiday. My parents never looked at it that way. They looked at it as being an American holiday. And we celebrate American holidays like Thanksgiving, 4th of July, Memorial Day, things of that nature. So, and my mother, when I turned 10 or so, we used to have turkey every year until one year when like my mother realized that none of us were eating the turkey because none of us like it. So we started making duck, which was infinitely better. But my mother passed 10 years ago, 11 years ago now. And she, even though my father remarried, when she passed, we haven't had Thanksgiving since. So for me, Thanksgiving is just a night, just usually eating pizza. And just like me and my, like, it's not like that family tradition. It's like, I don't know. I sort of look at it like it's like it was like my mom's deal. So like, yeah, I just Thanksgiving for me is just a night watching football.
Yeah, it wasn't that important. Didn't seem like that big a thing. When I was younger, it seemed like it was, just because it was more of a family get together, and yeah, they tried to mix some religion, I guess, in with it, but that's what I remember. As I got older, those kind of things I just don't attend much anymore.
Right. I mean, yeah, it's not a religious holiday. People don't go to church or anything like that, but I can understand that they're giving thanks, to. I understand the perspective that's Christian, because like giving thanks to Jesus is likely what the intended perspective is. So
yeah, I don't think that was the main focus.
Right.
That I remember being, taught or learned. The main focus was the love of the founding of our country.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen. And that's how I always looked at it. Similar to 4th of July. Not quite as patriotic, but similar. Like perhaps more of a religious element to it, in that you're thanking God for this country. So yeah, that's how I always looked at it. That's how I always took it. But are you a football fan?
I used to be a really hardcore Dallas Cowboys fan.
Same. Yeah. I'm much less hardcore because of fantasy football. So
I got kind of I'm trying to think of the word. The corporatization of things like that just kind of soured me a little bit. It's still fun, but I don't watch it like I used to.
You think they have a chance against the Chiefs tomorrow?
Pardon me?
Do you think they have a chance against the Chiefs tomorrow?
The Cowboys?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I think they're cooked. Although, frankly, I need Rashi Rice to go nuts for me so I can take down duck fat. So, all right, my brother. Any thoughts you have? Anything else?
Just chat. Just wanted to call, just off chance I could say hi. And
cool. I appreciate the call, Leslie. Do it again.
And God bless.
Happy holidays, brother.
You too.
Yeah. So I was. Sorry, someone's calling.
Call from
Kimmy Hunt.
Kimmy Hunt.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I just heard your sad story about your mom.
Well, it's less sad when it's like 11 years removed,
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, it's not sad. It feels like kind of like it's like a sweet memories I have of my mom. She was always very into she was famous, which I didn't even realize she was famous for this, because my cousins would come whenever we had Jewish holidays. My cousins would come in for the holidays and spend the holidays with us. And apparently, so her name was Rosalind, so they called her Aunt Roz, and they referred to her meals as Aunt Roz's belt busters, because she would start. It always start with a grapefruit or melon. This is something that it'd be grapefruit or melon, and then there would be a fish course, and then there would be soup, and then there would be several entrees with several side dishes, and until you're stuffed to the gills. And then when you're like really stuffed, she would come out with like 3 different cakes. And she would do it for like, and over the course of Jewish holiday, you have to realize there's normally a minimum of 4 meals. So she would do that times 4. Like what you guys do for Thanksgiving, she would prepare for 4 different meals over a span of 2 days. Like that's
wow.
Yeah. So that's why they referred to her meals as Aunt Roz's belt busters. So yeah, she was very she loved doing it. I don't remember ever once hearing her complain about cooking. Never. Like it was just like she just loved having the family together and doing that. So yeah, so for her, Thanksgiving was like nothing. It was like, yeah, are you kidding me? She could do that in her sleep. So
she was in her zone.
Yeah, it was really no big deal. Yeah, so
cool.
Yeah. What do you do for the holidays, Kimmy?
Not as much anymore. When I was little, up until about the age of 12, my mom had Thanksgiving, and my mom was one of 6. So my grandma, grandpa, and then all of her brother and sisters. It was 1 brother and 5 sisters, and their spouses, and all the cousins would come to our house, and we would go and borrow long tables from the church with the metal chairs and put down paper as tablecloths, and the whole 9. And I would make place, where everybody would sit. And I mean, each mom did the turkey and the mashed potatoes, and then each family would bring a couple sides and a dessert.
Yeah.
And everybody just kind of came into the house all at once
in a communal type of way. Yeah.
Yeah. And then mom and all of her sisters would get in the kitchen and wash the dishes. Kids went out and played football in the backyard with the uncles. Then the games would come on TV, and the uncles would sit around looking bloated as they kind of fell asleep watching football, and us kids went downstairs in the basement and went wacko and played. So that was my Thanksgiving growing up, and then it just kind of waned away. As me and my brothers got married and had kids, because they had commitments with their spouses' families and different things like that. So tomorrow it will be my mom, my stepdad, and myself going over to my little brother's house for Thanksgiving. And my little brother has 5 kids and 30 grandkids. So we'll tolerate it as long as we can.
Right. Right.
And then we'll exit stage right,
Cool.
Like, okay, and we'll take some pumpkin pie as we're on our way. But the neat thing is there is one special family pie that is made, and it's a butterscotch pie, and it's made with brown sugar and butter, and oh my gosh, it's a meringue top, and it's so good. And my mom's making one for tomorrow, so my brothers and I will be fighting over the butterscotch pie.
You say butterscotch pie. My father is a big fan of pumpkin pie, and he's the only one who eats it. The rest of us like hurl at the thought of pumpkin pie. But my dad loves pumpkin pie. Like he's like,
I make it. I'm the pumpkin pie maker, and I substitute 1 can of evaporated milk with an 8-ounce block of cream cheese.
Wow.
And it makes it more like a cheesecake with a little pumpkin
flavoring
taste to it.
Right.
And everybody fights over my pie, but I'm not
that probably
making
is
it
good.
this year. But that's my Thanksgiving, and
All right. Well, I hope you have happy holidays, Kimmy.
I feel like I was your secretary tonight.
You were great. You were great. Thank you so
Like,
much.
oh my
You were
gosh.
amazing.
And then if you go into after you're done, if you go into X and look up Mike Davis's
Post
account,
Mhm.
he has a blow by blow. Apparently, once he shot those two, he saw another guardsman across the street hiding behind the truck. And this one was a major with the guardsman, and he was unarmed. And as the guy was running towards him, he pulled out a pocket knife and started stabbing him in the head. And then another guardsman came around the corner with a gun and shot him in the butt. So that's
Whoa.
why you see him on the stretcher without blood, is he was stabbed in the scalp and he was shot in the rear end.
Oh.
So that's yeah, and they did strip him down to look for bombs.
No, that's what I thought. That's what I
Yeah.
said. All right.
All right.
Thank you
Take
so much,
care.
Kimmy.
Happy Thanksgiving,
You
everybody.
too. Gobble, gobble. I always wanted to say that. I don't think I've ever said that. Gobble, gobble. Gobble, gobble. That's from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. So, yeah, I had to throw that out there. So I was going to tell you all about the Breslov Hasidim. So allow me to regale you with perspective about a unique sect of Hasidic Jews. I don't know very much about them. Okay, I don't know very much about them. But this is what I can share with you what makes them unique.
Call from
Leanne.
Whoa. That's not good.
Thanks.
Hold on a second. That's not good at all.
Oh, what did I do?
You did nothing. You didn't do anything wrong. I had a audio issue that was coming, and I was like trying to figure out where it was coming from, and then I found it, and now we're good. Okay, so the Leanne.
Yes. So I'm going to be kind of a bummer, but I don't mean to be. I hope to bring a blessing on everyone.
Okay.
I just want to. I know that not everybody is really intense about Thanksgiving, and I wasn't for a long time. Thanksgiving is the anniversary of my son's death, and it was really difficult for me for a long time, although it was my mom's big thing, right? And just to remind everybody that those two guardsmen, now their Thanksgiving will always be connected to their family member's death. And it's very difficult. So just remember your blessings tomorrow, today. You don't have to celebrate big. You just have to recognize that you're blessed for the people that you do have. I know it's hard because your mom is gone. But remember her in a way, and the love that she put into those meals, because that's really what it's about.
So
that's all I wanted to say.
So I'm gonna try and give you a different way, a different perspective that you might have on it. Now you say, like, I know you mentioned that for those guardsmen, like that's how their families will remember Thanksgiving. And what I'll point out first and foremost is they weren't killed on Thanksgiving. They were
No.
So in that sense, they won't have that. Nor do I hope that they I'm sure that there's suffering.
They will. They will.
Well, here's the thing. Thanksgiving, as you're well aware, comes out on a different day every year. Now, you can look at it as being Thanksgiving is the day they died, or you can look at it as being November 24th or whatever day Thanksgiving fell out that year as the day that your son died. The reason I would urge you to...
Actually, it is the 24th. How did you know that?
I had like a 1 in 7 chance of getting it right. So my point being, so now let's look at your situation here, Leanne. And I'm trying to help you. I'm not being critical at all. I'm trying to help you take a different perspective because I think it might be better for you. And I should have prefaced this with the first thought that went through my God of like, oh my God, that's horrific. It's terrible when any parent has to bury a child. And my
Right.
condolences for that suffering. And I'm sorry. I'm truly sympathetic for that. But what I'm thinking is, so you're tying it into Thanksgiving, and you've probably been doing that. How many years has it been since he passed?
He died in 1988, so it's a long time.
It's a long time, right? So I don't think. How old was he when he died?
2 months old.
Wow. Okay. So it's a terrible loss. What I'm saying is, you sound like a mother who deeply cares for her children. You had other children?
I do.
Okay. So I assume that you have a relatively healthy relationship with your children where you and you love them and they love you. If I'm wrong,
Mhm.
please don't abuse me with that notion. But so think of it like this. You know, a week ago or so, it's close to 2 weeks now, on Sunday, I told my audience here how a young woman who has 3 children and grew up across the street from me and is best friends with my daughter, that she became a widow by a tragedy, which was when her husband's vehicle was struck by a tree. He's driving along a street and the wind just blew a tree over and it crashed through his car and he crashed and died. He was a perfectly healthy and a really amazing young man. And she became a widow. And what I thought about, I've had a lot of thoughts about that. It really impacted the way I think about a lot of things. And during the week that the family was sitting Shiva and people talking about this terrible tragedy and everyone, coming to grips with it. So, as is customary in our faith and people who follow our faith, is that a lot of people told over some of the great accolades of this young man. And they were, as far as I could tell, true. He was a remarkable man. And it's a real genuine loss. And what I've thought about and shared with only a couple of people before today was the notion that that remarkable man was the same remarkable man a day earlier, like on Saturday or Friday. He died on Sunday. So Saturday or Friday, he was a remarkable man. And no one really told him what a remarkable man he was. They just sort of took it as a given and said, hey, that's a guy I like. But they never really sat and thought about the greatness of this individual. Why would you? It's another person. So you're not thinking about it. It's only because he was in that car, because he died. That's the only reason we're sitting here contemplating just what a great person he is. And then the next thought I had on this is, there's a lot of people who, if they were sitting in that car and they have been the one to suffer that tragedy, we'd be saying, I can think of a lot of people who we'd be saying great things about them as well, perhaps different accolades, but numerous accolades all the same. And when I was trying to explain to my wife, I said, this is not to detract from the greatness of that young man. It's not. He's a phenomenal, exceptional young man. It's to point out how unfortunate it is that we do not appreciate the greatness of those around us while they're living. Like, we don't think about just how great they are. That if you thought for a moment, hey, this person over here that I know, and I'm talking about people who are friends of yours, people you like and admire and respect. And you think to yourself, oh my God, if they were in that car, you can almost come up with a list of accolades that you would likely be saying and thinking about that person. But we won't say it and think about them because they weren't in that car. They're still alive. They're still here. And it's likely true. I mean, if you surround yourself with a circle of people who are very healthy people and good people, caring people, people who have quality and value rather than people who are self-destructive and trying to harm themselves and others, you can probably come up with a great deal of accolades that you can say about a lot of people in your life, but you never would say it or think it, not because of a failing in you, but just because we don't do that for the living. We only do it for the dead. And that's a shame. And that's one of the things
Right.
that I think we should think about on Thanksgiving, perhaps, is the
And that was my point exactly.
that we should
Think of how blessed you are with the people who
yes,
are still
exactly.
with you.
And when you said that, that's what made this whole thought process trigger through me. But there's one
So
more
you
step.
totally got my point.
But there's one more step that I want to come to here with respect to you specifically, Leanne, and that is assuming your child didn't die, assuming your child had lived or lived a while longer. Let's say it died at 20 instead of at 2 months. And we assume that similar to other children, you would have had a healthy relationship with them and they had died on Thanksgiving. I think it's pretty fair to assume that they likely would not want to feel as if their passing ended up being the cause of destroying that holiday for you for the rest of your life. That it's turn that holiday into a terrible, awful memory of sadness and mourning. I think that it's pretty safe to assume that they almost certainly would not want that because you wouldn't want that. You wouldn't want to have that impact on your parents or your loved ones if you were to pass on Thanksgiving sometime many, many, many years from now, or a different holiday. Let's say you were to pass on July 4th. Let's say talking 50 years from now, 100 years from now. I don't want to shorten your lifespan. Okay. So 100 years from now, you die on July 4th, 2125. Okay. Now, so whatever offspring you have, should they be miserable for the rest of their lives on July 4th, thinking, oh, we're so sad that mom or grandma died? No, you wouldn't want that for them. You would never want that for
No.
them. You would feel sad that you had that impact in destroying that holiday for them. So seeing as how Thanksgiving is a little bit easier to do than July 4th because doesn't come on the same day every year. It doesn't happen every time that. And this year is one example. That's this year, Thanksgiving is on November 27th. Instead of looking at it that your son died on Thanksgiving, you can at least look at it and say, I'm going to honor his memory on the date of his death, rather than thinking
That
of it as
is
being
what I do now. But it took me a long time.
right,
That's what I'm saying. It took me a long time.
right.
So because just the circumstances, it was just we had stayed the night at my mother's because I was helping her to make the dinner, right? So all the smells, everything was just, it was very sad for me for a very long time.
Yeah.
But so
I get it. I get it.
Yeah, but that now, I mean, I'm 37 years out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now, and for a long while, I look at the date and not the holiday, and I did that for a little while, but then I just got beyond that, and that's how I look at Thanksgiving now, is just to be thankful and count my blessings for who I do have still with me,
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well,
so celebrate the people, just like you totally got my point there, and celebrate those people that you would miss terribly.
yeah.
If
Amen.
they were not in your life.
Celebrate them while they're alive and tell them how much you appreciate them. I think that's a healthy thing to do on Thanksgiving. All right. Thank you so much for the call.
Have a great day tomorrow, whatever you're doing.
You too. You too.
Bye-bye.
Take care, Leanne. So I saw people clamoring for me to check the chat, and I saw Kat here saying, I came out here to get away from death. I lost a family member this morning, so there's nothing to be thankful for. I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry for that. And I certainly wasn't trying to bring up any negative, obviously, in no way. And there's different stages of processing. So I'm sorry. I certainly wasn't looking to aggravate you. I'm definitely sorry for your loss. At this stage, there's nothing I can say to when someone is dealing with a death that day. What I urge you is to hold on to your other loved ones and appreciate them. just to help you grieve and get through this process. Because you're in a different place right now. When the death is fresh, you're in a whole different place. So there's really nothing that can be said that will help fill that void for you. But at a later time, feel free to reach out to me, and I'll see if I can do a better job of making you feel better during your time of grief. Was there something else I missed? It's just this guy showing up here? Is it just that? Is it just that? FFS saying, sorry, I'm not there, Chad. I'm trying for the holidays. I'll see you next week. Happy Thanksgiving. All right. Good to see you, brother. Thanks for checking in. Appreciate it. I'm going to tell you about the Brussels.
Call from. Hi, this is Kat.
Kat?
Hello.
Kat?
Hi.
Hey. Can you just turn off the thing in the background? Because it's hard to, there's an echo going on.
I just muted it. Yes.
Okay, thanks.
I have spoken to you a long, long time ago, but my story was very sad, and I'm not going there.
Are you the Kat I was just addressing in the chat a moment ago?
No, I'm a different one.
Oh, okay.
I'm a different one.
Okay.
Anyways, I just want to say for myself, when I grew up, we had 50 people for Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
And as the years go on, of course, we lose loved ones and friends. And we always shared in the family about the loss of that loved one and the good that loved one presented in our lives and the good memories.
Yeah.
So instead of mourning, we brought joy out on that day.
Yeah.
And then we talked about whatever it was in life that made us happy.
Yeah.
And what we were thankful for.
That's beautiful.
So I just wanted to share that.
I appreciate you sharing that. It's a beautiful way to address the situation. I mean, when the last caller was talking about a child who had passed away at 2 months, so it's not like there's a lot of memories that the worlds can form about that child. But as a general rule, I totally agree with you on that. And perhaps that will help Kat. Perhaps that'll help Kat tomorrow. I don't know.
I hope so, and I'll say a prayer for her.
Amen.
Also, what I do, I lost a son 4 years ago, and that was he was 42. I also lost a brother who was in his 50s, and those days were so terrible. But what I do in memory of them during all of the holidays is I put streaks of purple in my hair. And
purple?
I'm almost 70 now. Yeah, purple dye. Just little streaks here and there.
Okay.
And when I go out in public, everybody stops me and says how beautiful it looks. And I tell them I do it in memory of my loved ones.
That's
and people would reply, I'm going to do that because it's so different. People dye their hair for whatever reason, but I just put a few streaks in my hair in memory of my loved ones, my son and my brother.
That's very sweet. That's really, really
anyway,
sweet.
That's all I wanted to share.
I'm so glad you called. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good
night.
night. You
and
too.
Be blessed
Stay
and
blessed.
Be safe.
Amen.
Thank you.
Happy holidays. That was such a nice message. It was really nice. This feels very wholesome. I feel so wholesome tonight. Being very, very wholesome. So I was telling you about the Breslov Hasina. Remember that? So earlier tonight, we got a rumble ran from J.H. Schwalbach where he was gave us a quote from Nachman Breslov.
Call from
Paramedic Potato.
All I got was potato.
So I was telling you about the Paramedic Potato.
Paramedic potato. Paramedic. I think you meant paramedic potato.
Well, kind of. Sometimes I do both.
Okay, good.
You know, I do both genders. So.
Yeah. Nice. Oh, good. I got a replacement for Sin. What's on your mind tonight, paramedic?
Yes, sir. I live in Memphis, where we've had the Memphis Safe Task Force that has done, even with minimal National Guard, we've got about 200-ish in here right now, and then extra FBI involvement and other government agencies, and it has done amazing. Memphis 10 years ago was fine before we got the Soros DAs involved.
Yep.
And they were letting criminals out. And then now the DA is complaining because they're like, we can't process all these people. We can't process all, we can't process these criminals for being criminals.
Why not?
But we've had like 40 to 45 days with no random gunshots. It's been great. And they're fighting against it. They're suing everybody. I mean, it's insane.
You're saying the last 40 to 45 days there's been no gunshots?
No random gunshots. I mean, obviously,
Whoa.
lawful citizens that defend themselves might have to shoot somebody. But other than that, I mean, I live in a nice area of Memphis that generally there's minimal crime, but there were still random gunshots because of drug deals and whatever, or gang fights and whatnot. And it's been quiet. It's been great.
Oh, it's amazing. That's great. What do you attribute the change? What do you attribute the change to?
Enforcing the law.
No.
I mean, Memphis has a deficit of 300 to 800 cops, depending on what sources you quote, and just the extra federal backing has solved a lot of that. I mean, Memphis has obviously some bad policies. I'm a paramedic. A lot of my friends worked for Memphis Fire and left because they stripped the pension. They did all these things to drive away first responders. And they did the same with the police. And when you have those policies that drive away police, and then, every time it's the police's fault if something happens, even though it's the criminal's fault that they initiated the encounter, guess what happens? The good people leave.
Of course.
And then we've gotten that as policy for 10 plus years. And that's why Memphis was so crime ridden. Trump decided to send extra help here, and all of a sudden, no random gunshots. I mean, it's a simple cause and effect thing. And people are like, oh, it's fascism and all that. No, it's
just actual law.
Following this.
It's just actual law.
It's actual. Right. It's following the rule of law.
Yeah.
And you see like the Reddits in our area, and they're like protesting against following the law.
It's something you just triggered a thought in my mind right now. Democrats for decades were famous for giving handouts. But now, in lieu of, and that was like their thing, is like, more socialization, more welfare and SNAP and all these other different things that they wanted to always bulk up. Healthcare, they just always want to give free things away. Now they're giving like freedom from prosecution. Like that's what they're trying to advocate for, that you won't be prosecuted.
Correct.
That's the new freedom that they're trying to hold out there as a carrot. That there's not going to be any laws. And
that what we can do, at least on our side, on the side that wants sane law and order, is shove that thing that those policies have created in their face. All these people being murdered by these career criminals that should either, be locked up or be in mental institutions. And society should no longer tolerate that. We need to go back to putting the crazies in the mental institutions, but putting the criminals away for life.
Yeah.
That would solve a lot of the problem.
That would, actually enforcing the law. All right, my brother.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah, but yeah.
Okay. All right. 5 minutes. Well, I appreciate the call. You have good plans for the holidays?
We're cooking a turkey and a brisket and
beautiful.
Chilling out. So I appreciate you taking some time to talk to me. And
my pleasure, my friend.
Y'all have a wonderful Thanksgiving and
happy holidays, my brother.
Thank you, friend.
Peace.
Bye.
Now, some people in the chat are claiming that the 2 officers have passed. I don't even know what to make out of any of this anymore. I don't know what to make. But I'm trying to just get confirmation one way or another. Where was it that I saw this? This is what I saw.
Call from
J.H. Walbach.
J.H.
Hey, what's happening, brother?
Okay, I'm glad you called. I'm so glad you called. Because you were the one who quoted Rav Nachman Breslov. And now I can finally get this out. All right. So Rav Nachman Breslov is has been gone for centuries, I think.
Right.
So I've explained this before, but I'll just briefly state this. If you think of how there are different denominations of Protestants and Catholics, so amongst Hasidic Jews, there are different denominations of Hasidic Jews.
Mm-hmm.
Each of them are headed by a rabbi. Through that rabbi is often passed. It's often passed as a succession of father to son. Sometimes, if they don't have a son, so the head of the movement would be. It would unfortunately, sometimes you'll see a split. Like Lubavitch Hasidim had a famous split when Schneerson died without having any sons, and there was a split that happened there. For one reason or another, and I never really looked into why, Rav Nachman Breslov, I don't know if he didn't have sons or whatever it is, he was the head of Breslov Hasidim, and they never had a replacement rabbi. They still look at him as their rabbi today, which makes it very unique, because we're not into the whole notion of recognizing a certain that this is your rabbi if they're not Moses or a living rabbi, that
right.
They're not supposed to really sort of look at them that way, but they stand out in ways that make them unique even from other Hasidic Jews. They'll tend to wear a very large, often white yarmulke. That's like the kippah is also in Hebrew, and it's called yarmulke, the little hat that we wear. But they wear a very large one, which will say the word Nachman, the name Nachman, is spelled with 4 Hebrew letters. It's Nun, Ches, Mem, Nun. And they'll sort of write it as, like, they'll write around the border of the yarmulke. It'll say, like it'll be like a Nun, and then a Nun Ches, like the next 2 letters of the name, and then Nun Ches Mem, like the 3 letters of the name, and then the full name. I don't know why. I don't know what the origin is. I don't know what the purpose. I can't explain it. I never looked into it. But that is one identifying feature. But the other identifying feature of them is that there's they do fundraising for their community. And there was always, no matter where I went in New York, if I'm in a restaurant or something like that, there was a guy who would come around for collecting for the Breslov Hasidim, and he would be carrying a stack of little tiny books, like, like the size of, like, a little black book type of thing, but like stacked up, and like armfuls of stacks of like these different books on different topics of like how to find your happiness, or learn to love yourself, all Jewish or Jewish theology purportedly related. I'm not, maybe they were, maybe they weren't, I never really read through them, but they would basically say, can I give you one of these books, and you give $1 or something like that to help cover the cost or something like that. And they would be thrusting these books on me. I remember from the time I was a teenager, it was always the same guy. There was two guys. Those are the only two from all of Breslov Hasidim I ever met in my life, and I met them 1,000 times in different places, always carrying these big stacks of books. And they'd be like, "Take another, take another, take another." And I'm like, "No, I'm good. I don't need. Here, take $1. I don't need. Don't give me. I don't want to walk around with this thing. I don't know if like I have to treat it with respect because it's holy. I just don't want to deal with like reading. And when you open it up, it's like it always say like, "My precious sons and daughters, feel joy in your life," and it'll go on, and in something that I never really fully appreciated, but I could never get over just the amount of energy and enthusiasm that these Hasidic Jews, God bless them, have, that they were basically trying to help fundraise, carrying these massive stacks of these pamphlets that they would thrust at you 3, 4. What about this? Have you thought about? What about this one about marriage? What about this one about raising children? It's like I'm good. No, I'm good. Yeah, take my $1. We're good. And people for decades, they would just go from one place to another. God bless them. That's all I know about them. But Rav Nachman Breslov was supposed to be a very big tzaddik, which is Hebrew for righteous person, a really holy man. And these people are tireless. So every time I see the Breslov, I think of those of that same. I could picture the face of that guy holding armfuls of books and just begging me to take 5 more of them, and I'd be like, no, I'm good, bro. We're good.
So the Jehovah's Witnesses of the Jews.
That's, I guess, the best way to put it. I guess that's the best way to put it. That they're yes. I never really read any of their stuff. Have you read Jehovah's Witness stuff?
No, but they come to my door weekly.
Oh, do they?
Oh yeah. No, I'm in Central California, and they're big here.
Oh, nice.
And no, I just wanted to. I never thought I'd ever call in. My like I said, my parents are from Flushing. All my relatives. I have an Uncle Joe.
Nice.
And you remind me of him, and I feel you were like family.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, my parents are not Jewish, but they are Jewish.
Cool. They're like George. So they're like Uncle George, right? They're Jewish.
Right. Well, I mean, it's just one of those things that once they left New York and moved to California, just the whole New York vibe about it, and I've always, when I listen to you, it's like listening to the family.
That's so cool. Thank you. That's a very big compliment. Thank you.
No, I appreciate you. So yeah, I'll let you go. And
what do you got for the holidays? What do you have going on for the holidays?
Just family stuff. I got a son that just had got a son that has a grandson for me now, and he's got another one on the way. So we're just getting together and doing that.
Sweet. I'm making you the last call. So do you have any like final thoughts for the? You are the last call. So do you have any final thoughts for the?
No. I just appreciate you.
Tomorrow,
I hope America survives.
Amen.
And
amen.
Go from there.
Amen. Tomorrow again, I'm starting late. I'm waiting basically till the last football game ends, and I'll probably go live then. So
well, good. Then I can get back to my night drinking and
sweet.
Don't have to worry about scaring my employees that I got the bottle out on the desk.
Have a great night, my friend, and happy holidays to you and yours.
Thank you, my friend.
Godspeed.
God bless you.
God bless. It's good to put a voice to it's good to put a voice to the words that I so frequently read. Glad you called in. And look at this. I'm closing down the phone lines now, by the way. That was the last call. But before we get out of here, apparently Brian Oldenkamp came in gifting 10 Good Lawgic memberships. God bless you, brother. Following 10 people were brought in just in time for Thanksgiving for greater personal growth. Very, 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 by the very, very generous Brian Oldenkamp. God bless you, my brother. Thank you so very, very much. Who did we bring in here? Let's see who we brought into the following. Let's see what we got. What did we get here? I actually lost my chat. Let's see who we brought into the following. Ooh, you see that echo? Following 10 people brought in here, courtesy of Brian Oldenkamp. Now, as a new member of the following, it would be most appropriate for you to give your gratitude to Brian for bestowing with you with really what is ultimately the gift of life. Because what is life if not for seeking greater personal growth? And that's what the following is about. It's not at all a cult type of cult. It's just a group of like-minded individuals who are seeking greater personal growth through community, unity, learning, and thinking. But it's not at all like a cult type of cult. There's no Kool-Aid, no spaceships, no tracksuits that are mandatory, no dancing around bonfires to the beat of a tom-tom, shucking off your clothing and swearing your allegiance to Baal. There's no throwing virgins in volcanoes, no squirrel mutilations, mild farm work, no goat sacrifices. It's not at all a cult type of cult. It's just the following. And that would include Endless 013, T Little 67, Scott 6089, Another Mom, Cinnamon Squirrel. Oh, look at that, another squirrel. And Andrea we're going to call it Andrea Demin. Go Ho Shane, Ethan Calvin Gate P stuck in Virginia, and No Jabsky. Amen to that. No Jabsky's here. And with that, I thank you all for joining me. Please bear in mind that if you're drinking tomorrow, do not drive. If you're driving, do not drink. I can make a joke out of it, but it's too serious a topic for me to joke about. Please make sure you enjoy your football. And if you're playing against me in fantasy football, I hope all of your players break their legs. No, shouldn't say that. That's not nice. I hope all of them have wives who go into labor and that they need to leave the game. That would be good. That's good. I'm not wishing ill on people. Tomorrow evening, I expect to start after football ends. Until then, I urge you all to make sure that you remember that lab meat was never meant for you. It's meant for they, them, and folks who are competing in strongman competitions. And do not eat the bugs. Don't do it. Do not do it. Good night, everyone. Happy holidays. Godspeed.